have changed my life and changed the way that I perceive the globe and changed the way that I perceive my work. So thank you so much for the work that you do. I'm so honored to be here with you.
Well, I'm honored to be with you and to be with all of you at home and those who all flew here, came here to visit here in person.
Yes.
We're very excited to be a part of this, and I really don't have any fear. Remember those no fear t-shirts when we were kids?
Yeah.
I used to have every single one of them. No fear. Bring it on.
Yep, same.
I actually fear most, for all of you at home, I actually fear people being sick unnecessarily or dying young prematurely without actually having answers more than anything else. So the fear of people being unknowingly harmed and diseased when they don't need to be or suffering is what actually I'm most afraid of.
Absolutely. Same.
That you know the truth.
Yes, exactly.
Supposedly the truth sets you free, even from symptoms.
It does. The truth sets you free. Well, application of knowledge sets you free. So, yes. So, guys, are you ready to get started? All right, because Dr. Artist has a crazy... Okay, look, so I have not seen his presentation. I have not seen any of the videos. So I'm going to be just as surprised as everyone here. But I know that, we're going to see some stuff today. So, are we ready?
Yeah,
are you ready?
I don't know if you ate lunch. Maybe you should have waited. I'm just kidding. All right, it's gonna be fun. All right, so a few things here. Up here on this little stand here, I don't know if you noticed, but this is a white king cobra, which is very fitting for what I've helped to make sure the world knew, which was a truth that most people don't even talk about. It's not really talked about in the mainstream media, but there's a huge venom industrial complex that's literally infecting our agriculture, our cosmetics, our drugs, vaccines, and all of us are getting exposed to them every single day. All right, so that's why the snake's important. Plus, the serpent is the symbol of mainstream medicine, which I find ironic. So any institute of health will have a serpent on its logo, which I don't know about you, but even a 2-year-old can see a snake come out in a trail in the woods and doesn't want to go pet it. No, you were hardwired to run away from serpents, but yet we've been conditioned to believe this represents health and healing. Seriously. So every ambulance, every hospital, the American Medical Association, every medical institution has a snake. So I like the snake reminding me of what my purpose is, which is to educate you on the poisonous, detrimental sides of the medical complex, which is symbolized through a serpent. And then up here is a few other things. So this is remdesivir, actually. So during COVID-19, there were hospitals that were sending me from their chief pharmacists in their hospitals. This is from Guatemala, by the way, because we could not get any pharmacists in America to send them to me. So a hospital in Guatemala had released some remdesivir, still sealed, and sent it to me. And we will have this stuff eventually tested. We have not found labs in America that will actually help us confirm what's actually in here. So I've left them sealed and with me for the last 5 years. And then we've got a few things that many Americans were exposed to, and maybe some of your family members were. This is the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. This is the Moderna mRNA vaccine, and your Pfizer COVID-19 vaccines. Those are samples sent to me by pharmacists from hospitals also after these were administered to people, and they wanted to make sure we had these tested. And then you'll see these 3 vials here. These were actually removed by an embalmer named Richard Hirschman, and he would follow me around the country and bring these blood clots being pulled out of people's bodies that you've seen on television, social media. So you guys are free, those who are here, to come up here and take pictures with your favorite blood clot. They kind of look like worms and snakes and serpents. But I sent some of these, I received about 10 of these, and I sent several of these to Mike Adams to have him analyze them with his mass spectrometry devices down in Austin. And then he published his whole, these are not obviously human. This is what he said. These are obviously not human because the percentage of the amount of metals that are found inside of these cannot be coming from our own tissues. You could not even absorb to create a blood clot made up of this much tin. TIN, for example, was the highest amount of the heavy metal found in these clots. And he said these obviously are not from our bodies. Our bodies are not making these. So something is driving the accumulation of these metals to coagulate to create these rubbery type clots. So anyway, that's what's up here up here, because most people have never seen these things. They've just been sitting in my bathroom for 5 years, or I send them to people to have them tested and do their write-ups. But there will be in the future, the goal is to have labs where we can confirm what's in vaccines, what's in your blood, urine, feces, cerebral spinal fluid, and I want a biological lab that can assess all people for venom peptides being manufactured by their own body or by microorganisms in their body, and being able to confirm that, and we will do that. So my goal is to hold these institutions accountable. When they tell you what's on the label, I want to make sure we hold them to account that that's exactly what you said's in there before we're allowed to inject that into our kids or adults, no matter what it is. So
that's important.
So that's what's up here. On top of that, I kind of jokingly said this earlier, but COVID-19 was obviously a remdesivir deficiency. Anybody who lost their taste and smell, anybody who could not breathe, becoming hypoxic, you were obviously deficient in remdesivir. Dr. Anthony Fauci said this is what everybody needs in the United States for the year 2020. And I find it disgusting that the first country and only country in the first year of the pandemic globally, called the United States of America, they were the only country to use remdesivir for the first year of the pandemic. No other country used it. At the end of 2020, we started exporting remdesivir to other countries, and the first country it went to was Brazil. Do you know which two countries have the highest deaths from supposedly COVID-19? The United States is number 1, Brazil is number 2, and the United States is double what Brazil had, which is 1.9 million in America, 700 to 800,000 in Brazil. No other country even had 1 million people die.
Terrible.
But we're the only one that from the beginning of January of 2020 until today, that remdesivir is still being pumped into our citizens. So no country on earth failed at protecting their citizens more than the United States. No one spends more money on healthcare than the United States, and no one sucked worse than the United States at keeping us alive during COVID-19. In fact, it is my opinion they murdered 1.9 million people in hospitals using remdesivir to shut down their kidneys, which then you can't release water. And every person that was in there was dehydrated, so they're putting a saline bag with salt chloride pumping into their veins the entire 10 days they were in there. And as the kidneys were shut down by remdesivir, the body fills up with water, their lungs filled with fluid. They misdiagnosed them as pneumonia patients, COVID pneumonia, when in fact they did not have pneumonia. They actually had pulmonary edema, which is physically drowning someone to death and filling their lungs with water and watching them drown in front of you. So that's exactly what occurred. And when the lungs would fill up with water, after having the remdesivir shut down their kidneys, filling them with water with a water bag the whole time they're in there, then they would add the ventilators, which would force air into their lungs, which is now full of water. What happens if you add more pressure into a water balloon full of water? It's going to explode. You have these little bitty cells filled with water in your lungs called alveoli, and as they pumped more air and pressure into the lungs, those little sacs of fluid would explode, and these individuals would drown to death and die. So this was the complication of this protocol. So
there's somebody online, they're saying that they were in the ICU in January of 2022, and they were offered remdesivir, but they refused, and his doctor said that he was the only severe patient that survived.
Isn't that amazing? The one to refuse remdesivir is the one that survived. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, we're really glad that everybody's joining us online. Hello, everybody there. We know there's many more of you outside of this building right now at home. So we're really glad that you're spending time with us wherever you are in the world. We're very excited to be here. So one of the other lies we've all been told here in America, and this is not a joke for all of you that are here, I've had practices in both Tennessee and Texas for 16 years, actually, from 2004, and then retired in 2018 or so. But in that entire period, I had medical doctors in every town I lived in who would tell my patients, if they found out I was treating them, you know, if you do your wellness checks every 6 months or a year with your primary care doctor, they'll ask you, anything changed since the last time I saw you? And if anybody said, well, yes, actually, I'm seeing Dr. Artis, and well, what's he doing with you? He's treating me for parasites. If that came out of the patient's mouth, every MD in Texas and in Tennessee actually said to every one of my patients, do not trust anything else that man says to you. Parasites do not exist in America. And then most of my patients, looking at the MD, tell them not to trust me. Many of them would leave that office and be confused about who to trust. You've got your medical counterpart, you've got Dr. Artis, and they didn't know who to trust. So many of them would hesitate for like 3 or 4 months to come back into my office, but because their symptoms never got better, they'd eventually come back in and then tell me what happened. Then I would look at them every time and I would go, so your medical doctor told you that? Yeah, I mean, this happened hundreds of times. So your medical doctor told you parasites don't exist in America, so don't listen to Dr. Artis. Yes. Okay, good. What did you say to the doctor when they said that? Oh, nothing. I didn't know. I don't know what's real or true. I'm not a medical expert. I just trusted them. And I would say, no, you didn't actually ask them. Have you ever had a dog or cat in America? Did you ever ask them that? It didn't come out of your mouth. Have you ever owned a dog or cat in America? Because every dog or cat you've ever owned, or anybody's ever owned, you take it to the vet, what's the first thing they test your animal for?
Mm-hmm.
Heartworms, which are what?
Parasites.
Parasites. What kind of parasite? A nematode called a roundworm. Okay, great. Do you know that all nematodes and roundworms have what's called a zoonotic nature? They transfer between species. They go from dogs, cats, parrots, goats, sheep, horses, cattle, to you, a human. And every veterinarian knows it, but your medical doctors all leave, millions of them every year leave medical school being told, when you get out of here, make sure you repeat back to every American that parasites do not exist in America. But no one ever tells them that if you sit in front of someone with intelligence, you're going to look like a total dumbass for saying that. Because we all know you take your animals to a vet, they're going to look for parasites. And then I would tell them, call your medical doctor right now and ask them, have they ever had a dog or cat they ever took to a vet? And when they say yes, I want you to ask them, where was your dog or cat born? They say, I quote, parasites do not exist in America. Those are only third world country problems. So if the dogs and cats all in America have parasites that every veterinarian on every wellness check will actually test them for, and then put them on HeartGuard, which is what, by the way, do y'all know? Do you know what HeartGuard is? The #1 prescribed drug to all animals and your pets? If you turn it around and look at the drug facts panel, it's ivermectin. So how come 100% of all dogs and cats we know you need to test them for parasites, the same parasites we know transfer to humans, and every veterinarian knows leaving vet school, prepare your owners of all of your patients, the dogs and cats. Make sure they're all educated that they can get parasites from their animals. Isn't that amazing? Now, before I even show you what I'm going to show you, this is what the medical profession tells you. And the reason, there's a lot of reasons. We'll dive into why they are told to lie to you. And the truth is the medical doctors just don't know the truth. They're just repeating back to you what they were told. And they're not really lying to you. They're repeating a lie they didn't know was a lie. And then they were tested on that lie, and if they didn't answer the lie correctly, they would have been told they couldn't graduate or get their license. So they had to check, yes, there's no parasites that exist in America. Okay, everybody, do you really think there's a force field around America? Picture a cartoon. A force field around America that goes from the northern border of Canada to Rio Grande in the south, both east and west coast sides of the Atlantic Ocean, that when you come into this country, there's a force field you walk through like a medical detector that zaps all the parasites out of your body, except for in your animals? Really?
That's what he said. He said he came and he served in the Peace Corps and he got parasites overseas. So he said when he crossed the border, it magically probably disappeared because America doesn't have parasites.
America is so amazing. It's not only the land of the free, it's the land of those free of parasites. No parasites here. Okay, that was amazing. So what we're going to dive into here, it's obviously censored from the medical doctors, nurses, all coming from nursing school, medical school. They're not even told parasites exist. Okay? They don't exist in America, so all you're going to be practicing here, you don't have to worry about it whatsoever. Okay. Well, that's just ridiculous, and it's really dumb to say that, because every single Banfield veterinarian clinic you walk into, if you have a dog or cat right now, Banfield's the largest franchise of veterinarian clinics in America, they actually tell the vets to hold brochures in their lobby, their waiting rooms, and one of them is called Parasites in You. And it's a threefold, I used to have it in every treatment room in my office here in Frisco, Texas. Every treatment room had it. They'd go, parasites don't exist in America, and I would just hand them the brochure. You open it up, and it actually says, this is a graph of all the known parasites that transfer from your pets to you. But they want you to think you don't get them. All right, I'm not going to show you this, but anybody out there know any of the millions of people in America diagnosed with multiple sclerosis? Well, MS in 2016 at the Rocky Mountains lab, they took MS patients, dissected every one of their brains after they died from MS, dissected their brains, and then took cerebral spinal fluid samples from them and put it under a microscope, and then put dyes into the tissues to see what lights up. And in every single tissue sample, sliver of the brain in an MS patient, every single one of the brains had 3- and 6-inch worms inside their brain eating tunnels in their brain.
No.
And as the brain heals where the worm's eating, going through your brain, and as the body heals the brain tissue that has been eaten, your body will start to develop scar tissue in that area. And anybody who has MS, you know that when you go get your annual CT scans, MRIs, they will call these plaques.
Oh, plaques. Oh my God, I didn't know this one. What? Sorry.
In your cerebral spinal fluid of every MS patient, they show you. They highlight with different dyes, radioactive dyes,
Wow.
all the parasites. And you see 3 and 6 inch worms swimming in every cerebral spinal fluid sample. All of them. Up to that big and smaller. So if anybody's got MS out there, your neurologist is going to look at you and say, this is inherited, this is genetic, or maybe environmental, but they're always going to blame it on your genetics. When in fact they've never, ever once been told in med school or in residency or in their board certification that parasites get in the brain of all humans and can lead to what is called MS symptoms. And this is why MS symptoms are so weird, actually. So some people will develop MS symptoms and they'll get like tunnel vision first in one eye, where the peripheral vision will disappear and they'll just see down this one focal point. And that'll stay there for 3 to 6 months. And then all of a sudden their vision will start to improve again. And then this left arm will go weak, or they can't use their left arm. And then all of a sudden they'll start getting this random weird pain in their right temple for months. And then they'll get this inability to use their left leg and they have to use crutches. The reason for the movement is what? What part of the brain is the worm eating that controls that part of your body? So these are the things you're not being told. So the fact that you aren't being taught this in med school, it makes your neurologist that you're seeing for your neurodegenerative disease very limited in their ability to be open to actually assess whether or not there's some other cause for your condition other than blindly sweeping it, that you have a genetic inherited propensity for MS or multiple sclerosis.
Didn't you tell me you treated a patient who had a parasite and she was like declining for 20 years or something, and you said careful because you might start coughing up parasite?
Yeah, how many of you have ever heard of fibromyalgia? Fibromyalgia. So fibromyalgia is another Latin word. All of it's Latin. So fibro means fibrous tissue, cartilage, ligaments, muscle, things that keep other parts of the body connected. So fibro, that's your fibrous tissue. Myo means muscle in Latin. So it's fibrous tissue, muscle. Algia is joint, pain. So muscle, joint, tendon, ligament, pain is what fibromyalgia means. So this is crazy. Actually, one of the very first patients I had here in Frisco, Texas, actually in 2009, she was an overweight lady in her 50s, came in with a walker, and she told me she'd been diagnosed with fibromyalgia 27 years earlier, had been put on multiple drugs like prednisone, Plaquenil, methotrexate for years. And by the time I see her, she's in like her early 50s and she's using a walker to get around. And she said sometimes she can get away with a cane, but not all the time. All of her control of her body and weakness has just progressively gotten worse over the last 27 years. So life was really deplorable for her. So when I evaluated her in my office here in Frisco, she actually only tested for one thing. It just happened to be the same heartworms your dog or cats get, and it was in her heart, in her right ventricle, actually. So I had to tell her, your symptoms of all over body pain are being created by your immune system's reaction trying to kill off this parasite it can't kill off on its own. And the worms are growing, they're attached to your heart muscle, you're getting oxygen deficiency, you're getting immune reaction, cytokines, inflammatory markers, so you're chronically in pain as your body's trying to get rid of this infection. Now these worms, by the way, lay 100 to 200,000 eggs every single day in your body. Every day. Every day. So what we're going to discuss today is why I use and recommend stool sample tests for parasite evaluation, is because wherever the adult worms are in your body, and they're releasing 100 to 2,000 eggs every day in your body naturally has ways to detox. And one of its favorite, most successful ways is through your bowel movements. So we can pick up on eggs being removed, cyst states, larval states of all these hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of parasites living in your body. This lady, I had to tell her, these worms have been here for 27 years. They're big. So I looked at her and I said, have fun with the videos I'm going to show you here in a little bit. This lady says to me, I just said to her, I said, just, they're in your heart. How does the heart get rid of worms? I mean, if I asked you how's your bowels going to get rid of worms, what would you say? You're going to poop them out. If I said they're in your bladder, what would you think? You're going to pee them out, right? All right, so if it's in your heart, how are you going to get it out? Huh? All right, so Right. So the heart is going to fill up with blood, and if anything detaches from the heart wall, it's floating around in the blood, and then it's going to go into. And if it's in your atriums, which she had them in her atriums too, upper chambers, the blood goes from your atrium into your what? Lungs to get oxygen. How do the lungs get rid of anything?
Cough. You
You have to cough it out. So I had to tell this lady, you should be prepared. Not only are you going to poop out these worms, they're going to come on the back of your throat. When they die, they will start to move up your throat. You'll feel them on the back of your tongue, and you'll start to have to pull them out. And she's like, what? And I said, yeah, just be ready. I need to prepare you. Don't think this is an allergic reaction to the herbs I'm giving you. It's a worm, and we're killing it. So she goes, well, how long is that going to take? I said, it could be a month, it could be 2 months before the worms start coming out. Well, actually, it was 2 weeks later. She comes running in my office to tell me she just pulled out a 6-inch worm and brought pictures on the back of her tongue. And then she literally coughed up dead worms on the back of her throat every single day for the next 2.5 months. Every day. And it would be multiple sometimes. And she'd just keep pulling them out. And then there came a day, 2.5 months after the first one came out, that she ran into my office an hour later to just show me videos and images. She was in the kitchen, felt like she had to cough, but couldn't get it up. You ever had a big ball of mucus in your throat and you're trying to get it up? You finally get it up. She's over the kitchen sink, hacking, coughing, choking, feeling like, and then she coughs up this big blob of something, and then runs into the bathroom because she's all teary-eyed from something being stuck in her throat.
Don't say it.
Y'all all had that feeling.
Don't say it.
She comes back out of the bathroom, wiping her tears and cleaning up her mouth, and goes and looks in the sink, and there is a worm that is laid out from that ball she coughed up, this wide, this big, sitting on the bottom of the sink in the kitchen, which was the initial mother worm, just so y'all know. Well, just so you know, from the time she coughed up that worm, 100% of her fibromyalgia patient symptoms disappeared. And never again did she have to use a walker, never had to use a wheelchair again, and literally lost like 100 pounds, went off and opened up her own company, whereas before she was literally disabled. So this was 17 years ago.
Wow.
So to watch that happen in 2009, imagine how excited I got every time a patient after that would come in and go, Dr. Ardis, my medical doctor said parasites don't exist in America, not to trust you. Okay. You can continue to suffer if you want to listen to them, or you can literally take 3 months and watch your body transform as you get rid of an invader that is literally host. You are the host, you are their fuel source, and all of us are exposed to them. So, you guys want to dive into a presentation? Because this is how the flow of this is going to go, by the way. Everybody at home should be ready. I am here to traumatize you. And then this young lady, Elizabeth Carson, has already been through her own different kind of traumas throughout her life and has learned techniques to remove emotional stress and trauma that might get buried inside of you over the next hour. She's going to walk you through techniques of how to remove the trauma, disgust that I'm about to introduce to you.
I'm going to have to use my modalities on me after I see what you're about to show me.
You just might.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. So you guys ready? I'm going to show a PowerPoint presentation like I typically do, and I'm going to walk you guys through and show you a few clips of videos of things. We also have you guys ever heard of these mRNA vaccines? Did you know they're injecting animals that you eat with this mRNA technology? Okay. There's a medical doctor out of Idaho who 2 years ago opened up her cabin and allowed me, my wife Jane, to go up there and hide for a few weeks for me to just start writing my book, because I don't like writing. All of you at home, I do not like writing. I enjoy presenting. I like doing research, reading, and then building out PowerPoints and showing you the world. I love that stuff. But to write, sit, and type, not my thing. So I had to break away to go do that. And the Moving Beyond COVID-19 Lies book, it was started there. And the medical doctor who owns this home, her name is Vicky. Vicky, after I leave her home after a couple weeks, and come back home and finish out the rest of the book, she starts sending me videos of this beef she's been canning. And any of you ever can? Ever can your own meat? Can your own veggies? Okay. Well, we're going to show you some stuff that she kept sending me for days after she would pressurize and can this beef that's been dead. You should see what her concerns are, what mine were, about what they're injecting into our cattle called mRNA vaccines and what it may be doing to their bodies that we might be putting in our bodies. So it's quite disgusting, and nobody's been able to figure it out yet what it is, but eventually we will figure it out and find labs to do it, or we'll create our own to do it. So anyway, we'll dive into that. All right, so who's going to put up the PowerPoint? All right, good, here we go. All right, so this is us. All right, so there are highlighted sections of these screens, and you guys at home, you can read it all if you want to, but I'm just going to touch on the highlighted statements. All right, so this is the Cleveland Clinic. I said earlier a term called zoonosis, which most people don't know, but zoonotic is another form of the word. And I want you to know what zoonotic means, because in America, you're told these things do not exist in America. Zoonotic diseases, per the Cleveland Clinic, and I'd like to ask you, is the Cleveland Clinic in America? Is it in the United States? Okay, good. Everybody here read English? I'm only going to show you English stuff. All right. This isn't like foreign, third world country stuff. This is American. Cleveland Clinic's about as American as you can get. Zoonotic diseases are infectious illnesses that spread between animals and humans. Bacteria, parasites, viruses, fungi, and prions can cause them. Does anybody else see the word parasites up there? Y'all see the word parasites? Okay, so parasites can transfer from animals to humans. All right, just want to make sure y'all are aware of that. But bacteria can do it, viruses can do it, fungi can do it. All right. Zoonotic diseases spread through contact with infected body fluids, animal bites, contaminated water, and eating infected meat, or sleeping with your dogs and cats, by the way. Bats, livestock, rodents, birds, and other vertebrates can carry them. Okay, speaking of sleeping with your animals, any of you ever seen these pinworms that kids get, little kids? In America, pinworms, you ever seen these? So these little white worms about this big that will be in your baby, in your toddler, and you'll notice these kids will start scratching their rear ends as the night comes on. Like literally they're itching, rubbing, like 2-year-olds, 1-year-olds, they'll just sit there and rub their rear end on the edges of armrests. They're always scratching their rear ends. If you see people scratching their rear ends in the evening, they have parasites in their anus. Pinworms. And for children, they're called pinworms, and these are not abnormal. All right, so the pinworms get activated at night, and particularly on full moons, but every night, trust me, I've learned, those pinworms at night, which are parasites, will come out of the human's butthole, crawl around on the bed sheet, lay eggs on the bed sheet, and then before morning, crawl back into the anus of the kid or the adult. Okay? Dogs, cats get these things. So if you're sleeping with your dogs or cats, same thing can happen. Now, what's crazier is when you're trying to get rid of pinworms, you have to wash the sheets every day. Why? Because if you're giving the kid or the adult something to kill off the pinworms, they're coming out at night and laying eggs, and those eggs hatch every day and then crawl back up into the anus. They go heat signature missile looking for the anus in the bed the next night. And this is how the cycle continues. You cannot break that cycle unless you kill all the eggs on the sheets. Those same types of parasites are in your dogs and cats. So when people say, I sleep with my dogs and cats, I'm like, you better be burning those sheets in some really scalding hot water every day, clean those things, because if there's worms in those rear ends of those animals, they are coming out on your bed sheets, laying eggs, and crawling back into your animals, and you don't know it.
So I heard that you can take a piece of tape, and then you put a piece of tape over your butthole at night if you feel like you might have it, if you have like itchy butt. And in the morning, you take the tape off, and you'll see if you have the parasites, because they will get stuck to the tape.
Also, you can just go at night, 1 o'clock in the morning, and take your kid's diaper off or Huggies off or underwear down, and you will see the worms crawling out of their anus onto the sheets.
Facial expression.
You just want to look at them. They're there, hang out. All right, so that's just an example. I only brought that up because in my practice, there were many, many people who had heartworms, for example, in other parts of their body, so they're not called heartworms if they're located in another organ. But you get the same nematodes, flukes, roundworms. You get them in every organ of the human body, not just your heart. All right, just want y'all to know. They're coming. All right, so this is directly from the Department of Veterinary Medicine that oversees all veterinarians in America. So they give this out on their website, these forms for all veterinarians in America to give out to you who have any pets or animals. In fact, if you have animals that you ranch or prepare for butchering or selling for people to eat, you are required to give them ivermectin, fenbendazole, albendazole, some form of anti-parasitics every few months. You cannot even sell the meat without it because every animal in America has it. And every farmer There's lots of farmers I know, by the way, who, as they're giving the ivermectin, the fenbendazole to their animals out in the field, when their kids are with them, helping them run the farm, they will just tell them, look, if these animals have it, open your mouth, kid, and they'll just shoot the ivermectin, the fenbendazole their whole life as they're being raised on the farms in those kids. And the farmers will say, if the animals have them, you have them, kids. Yeah, no kidding, you do. All right. So here we go. I hope you guys are ready. This is zoonosis to watch for per your veterinarian. Hookworm infections. These are short, thick worms that are whitish to reddish brown. And don't worry, I'm going to show you what they look like. The veterinarians in America are told to teach you, this is what they look like. Here's your signs. So if you have puppies or kittens, anemia, pale mucous membranes, failure to gain weight, poor hair coat, dehydration, dark and tarry diarrhea. But for people, let's just focus on people. I'm going to show you this for all the 4 major types of parasites they're going to educate on. Then I'm going to show you the signs and symptoms in humans. Would you like to see them? They're fun. People, red, itchy, serpentine lesions on the skin. This is serpentine, by the way. Serpentine. Snake-like. Y'all want to see what it looks like? Yeah, this is what it looks like. I'd like to ask you, are those dogs or cats? Or neither? These are definitely human. Okay. But you're told these don't exist in America. But that's what it looks like. Any of you can wake up with this morning? You want to show us? Show us your hookworms?
Oh my God.
So I said these worms can get in any part of the human body. That is a human eye, by the way, not a dog or cat. That is a human.
Oh my God.
Okay. Just want y'all to be clear. I'm not going to show you any pet parasite infections or videos. They're all going to be human.
God.
That's beautiful, isn't it? I got lost in my lover's eyes. There's a worm in their eye. How is it transmitted? Well, in dogs and cats, it crosses the placenta while the animal's pregnant and through the mother's breast milk. This also is true for humans, by the way. Humans who have hookworms can transfer the eggs through their breast milk into their babies. Dogs, cats, and people, ingesting them in feces. How many of you eat feces? Well, that's how you get them. So why would they print that if you're not doing that? You're ingesting them in feces and from worms penetrating the skin, for example, like barefoot on the soil. All right, so let's talk about this. Where would you get feces from, Elizabeth? Why would you eat feces, Elizabeth?
I don't know. By accident? By accident?
By accident?
I don't know.
I accidentally picked up my dog's poop and ate it?
I don't know. Sanitation?
How do we accidentally eat poop if it's not on purpose? Are there any delicatessens here in America that are made out of poop? I don't think so. All right, so I just want y'all to know that in Los Angeles, in 2010, a parasitologist went into a 5-star restaurant and took samples underneath the nails of every host, chef, busboy and girl, every waiter and waitress, general manager, all of them. And then they took it back to a lab in Arizona and then had it analyzed. That you couldn't see it under their fingernails. They just took fingernail samples. 100% of every single person had fecal matter under their fingernails that had parasites in it.
100%.
So the people making your food, delivering your food, you know when they say you go into the bathroom in any restaurant, it says all employees must wash their hands? Well, that's why, but I guess they don't have anything to help you clean underneath your fingernails. So be careful if you're watching chefs like in a restaurant, licking their finger and sticking it in the pot, tasting it, making sure it tastes good before they send it to you.
No.
100% 5-star restaurant, by the way. All right, ingesting feces. I'm just going to tell everybody at home, stop eating poop if you don't want hookworm. All right, people most at risk are farmers, gardeners, landscapers, sunbathers, lying on the sand. Anybody ever done that? Anybody have kids that like playing in sand on beaches? That's one of the most common places you get hookworms. Plumbers, electricians, exterminators, and children playing in potentially contaminated areas. In fact, I love what this says here. It says how to prevent it. Okay, so how to prevent getting these parasites in humans. Promptly remove animal feces from your yard. Don't eat it. Cover children's sandboxes when not in use. You can't see it because of the little window down here. But my favorite is this one on the bottom. monitor children who are outside using sandboxes and playing at parks. Okay, I'd like to ask y'all, how do you know that a kid running around a playground is getting exposed to these hookworm parasites? It says monitor your children playing in sandboxes and on parks.
Yeah.
Okay, so next time you let all your grandchildren run loose, your kids run loose on a playground, think about that guy's eyeball that had the worm in there. So here are hookworms under a microscope. Now, I hope if I hit this, it'll play. Yeah, there you go. That's what it looks like.
Oh my God.
That's what was in that guy's eyeball. Well, now you know that's what it looks like.
Ugh.
They're real worms. Okay. This is toxoplasmosis is the next type of parasite. This is actually the most common parasite in America. In fact, as your medical doctors are told, parasites do not exist in America. And if we put this true-false test on your board exam, you better put true. Parasites do not exist in America. True or false, MD. If you want to graduate, you better click true. So then they come out and just repeat the lie to you. This is the most common parasite in America. If you go on the CDC's website right now, which I'm not going to take you on, they actually have an article on parasites, and it says 90 million Americans have this parasite right now that is causing symptoms and medical diseases. Isn't that amazing that your federal health agency, the CDC, knows that a third of all Americans have this one parasite causing diseases and illnesses, but your MDs are told they don't exist in America? How is it possible your medical schools have textbooks all printed, given to them to certify them, license them, and leaves it out when a third of all Americans have this one particular parasite? And the CDC writes the most common source of this parasite for 90 million Americans. Do you guys know what it is?
Cats.
What is it? No, actually. Someone said litter boxes. You do get it there. It's actually, the CDC says, 90 million Americans have this right now. They contract it through their tap water.
Oof. I read that 100% of people that die in motorcycle accidents have toxoplasmosis. Because it shuts down your fear center, so you're not scared of anything anymore and you act really crazy.
Very interesting. So I'm about to show you on here that they actually write that they believe 50% of the entire world's human population has these parasites.
Wow. Wow.
All right, so let's talk about toxoplasmosis, the most common one in America. Toxoplasmosis involves a protozoa-type parasite. There are 4 categories of parasites: tapeworms, roundworms, protozoa, and flukes. The most common is protozoa. Protozoa parasite infects virtually all warm-blooded vertebrates. Elizabeth, are you a warm-blooded vertebrate?
Yeah.
You are. Okay, good. She has vertebrae. That means she has a spine.
Yes.
And she's warm-blooded. There might be some people in her life that think she's cold-blooded, but she is definitely warm-blooded. Abdul, what's that girl's name? What's that singer, Paula Abdul?
Paula Abdul.
Cold-blooded
Oh,
snake or something? No?
I don't think I remember that one.
She didn't have a song like that?
No.
All right, people. Toxoplasmosis rarely causes clinical signs, but may cause flu-like symptoms in people with deficient immune responses. However, it can lead to death. Let's see. Congenital malformations, meaning as your baby's being developed in the womb, if this parasite transfers from the mom into the baby, it can create birth defects in your child. Or mental retardation. How is it transmitted? By uncooked meat and being exposed to infected cat feces, which is why someone mentioned their litter boxes, which was very good. People most at risk. Read the first part there, Elizabeth. Everyone is at risk. It does not say everyone except Americans. It does not read that. Everyone is at risk, but especially immunocompromised people. Can someone give me an example of someone who would be considered an immune-compromised person?
I don't know.
I love and I hate this statement because it's like in every description of any condition ever. Immunocompromised are particularly at risk of everything. Okay, so give me an example of someone who's immune-compromised. Anybody? There's only one primary reason any human on Earth is immune-compromised. Ever. You have an immune system. Every warm-blooded vertebrate's got one, including her. We all got it. So why would your immune system be suppressed and not working? Vaccines could do it. Could be food. The number one cause for immunosuppression is a drug known as an immunosuppressant. And it's called prednisone, corticosteroids, steroids. These are all immune suppressants. So when they say everyone's at risk, but particularly those who are immune compromised, who are the immunocompromised? If you're on prednisone, if you're on an asthma inhaler called corticosteroids, your immune system is being shut off. You are the immunocompromised because the drug called corticosteroids is in a category of drugs called immune suppressant. So every day you're on that, rheumatoid arthritis patients, lupus patients, fibromyalgia patients, arthritis patients, you are all immune compromised your entire life from the time you're given the prescription. Yeah. Every day you wake up and swallow that pill, you're immune compromised.
If you have a domed organ too. Yeah, my brother takes immunosuppressants to prevent. Yeah.
And then there's another one, right? Chemo. So there's chemotherapy you can take by pill every single day called methotrexate. That also suppresses your immune system. It literally is killing your immune system. That is what chemo does. Kills everything that it touches. So living cells, dead cells, cancer cells, parasite cells, it'll wipe them all out. Okay? So if you want to destroy the immune system, they're talking about people who are on immunosuppressants, which are millions of Americans. And the majority of people in nursing homes, assisted living homes, independent living homes, the majority of them are on immunosuppression. Pregnant women are at risk, fetuses and children. How to prevent it. Keep cats indoors to prevent ingestion of infected animals and feces. Again, you're eating their poop. Stop doing that. That's weird. Okay. Everybody home. I gotta say it, by the way. It might seem weird, but this is a topic I've been talking about for 20-something years. Educating people on parasites and poop and stop eating poop. And everybody be like, but I'm not eating poop. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. You have to be. This is how you got these parasites. I've never eaten poop in my whole life. Obviously you have. You just didn't know you were doing it. All right, so anybody here have any cats or dogs? Or multiple?
Yes.
You ever watch these dogs or cats, what they like to lick? Like each other's and themselves.
God, yes.
Okay. All right, I need to stay here. Earlier I mentioned that you will know a human being has parasites, particularly in their intestines, because their butts will start itching at night. So do your animals. How many of you ever seen a dog like pull his two legs forward and just drag his butt on the carpet or the rug? Do you know why he's doing that? His butt itches. Do you know what that animal 100% of the time has in their butthole?
Oh my God.
Parasites, okay? And it is irritating to the anus. All right, so dogs and cats know that when they start to have this sensation, either dogs will lick each other's butts, and when they lick the butt or the anus, they're licking the eggs of the parasites off of them that are making their butts itch. Stay with me. If they lick their own anus, they're cleaning their anus also of these parasitic infections and eggs and babies and larvae. And then how do the dogs and cats who actually intelligently know that there's parasites that were on their anus that they need to get off, when they lick it with their tongue, how do they clean their tongue of the parasite eggs they just licked off? How do they clean their tongue? They lick themselves, and then what do you do when you greet them when you walk in the door? Oh, you beautiful little guy, I love you. Lick me. Kiss me. Every time you pet your dog and cat who has licked themselves, licked others, and then licked themselves to clean their tongue, the eggs of those parasites are on your animal. And they put their feces off their tongue and clean their tongue of that feces so they didn't get sick, and they put it on their fur that you all love to kiss on, you all love to cuddle with.
I do. I do love my dog.
So when we talk about eating poop, this is where you're getting it. And as you pet those animals, if you're not washing your hands after you're engaging with your loving petting of your animals, you better go wash your hands, because when you go to take it back to your mouth, scratch your mouth, eat food, whatever, that's how you're transferring it there. So to say you don't eat feces is weird. You are. And most people, I learned at a 5-star restaurant, aren't even cleaning their hands enough after wiping their own butts, and they still have feces under their fingernails. All right, we'll keep going. Any questions now about how you're eating animal poop? Sure. Question was, if we go home and take ivermectin right now, can we stop? You might want to start brushing your teeth with ivermectin. Now, I do have to say this, though, because, and I see there's a hand in the room, we are going to do like 2.5 hours of Q&A. It's going to be really fun, so don't forget anything. Any questions about parasites, y'all remember, even at home, jot them down, any notes or thoughts you have. But I just want to say this. When, for example, in 2009, when I treated this lady with fibromyalgia, I didn't use ivermectin. I didn't use any drug. I actually just used 3 plants, and I had her swallow these every day. There are plants. In fact, ivermectin was found as a fungus in the soil in Japan. So this is actually from nature. They just patented it and now turned it into a drug. But there's actually 3 herbs that have been known for 30 years now to kill every parasite. So it's dandelion root I love. There's actually 4 I'll name. Dandelion root, sweet wormwood, and we'll dive into this, I'm sure, during Q&As, but dandelion root, sweet wormwood, red clove oil, and green walnut hull extract. Okay. So those are all I used with this patient. And she coughed up all of her worms. Sweet wormwood, green walnut hull extract, red clove oil, and dandelion root. So you'll hear like dandelion root tea. You can actually go out in your yard, rip up your dandelions, cut the roots, boil it, turn it into a tea that is anti-parasitic. Anybody wearing your nicotine patches? Nicotine is anti-helminthic. These types of worms, it kills those worms. It has been known to do that for over 1,000 years. All right. So how to prevent these parasites? Don't eat the poop. Number 1. Remove feces from your litter box daily. Wash hands thoroughly after exposure to soil, sand, raw meats, and unwashed vegetables. And then it says, put a lid on sandboxes when they're not in use. I guess cats like to use those as litter boxes. I don't have a sandbox, but put a lid on it. Okay, so here's an article from Expert Voices. I love these things. This is 2022, titled, 1 in 3 people are infected with Toxoplasma parasite, and the clue could be in your eyeballs. This is the parasite we're talking about. Toxoplasma gondii is probably the most successful parasite in the world today. It is, they say it again, most successful in the world today. This microscopic creature is capable of infecting any mammal or bird, and people across all continents are infected except for Americans. Oh wait, sorry, I added that. That is what your MD will say. But that is not true. It does say all continents, right, Elizabeth? Are we on a continent?
I think we are.
America is a part of a continent?
Pretty sure. Yeah.
These MDs, I don't know what they paid for, but they paid a lot of money to not learn a lot. Maybe something was left out. Once infected with this parasite, I repeat, that you get from your animals, your dogs, your cats, your water. Once infected, a person carries Toxoplasma for how long? For life. Unless you do what I tell you. So far, we don't have a drug that can eradicate the parasite from the body, and there is no vaccine approved for use in humans. Oh, like there has to be a vaccine that fixes everything. Okay, great. All right, so just so you know, I have to highlight that because everything in the medical question, the answer is a vaccine. This is ridiculous. Across the world, it's estimated that 30 to 50% of people are infected with Toxoplasma. I mentioned earlier, I'll show you a slide where they actually believe and estimate 50% of the world's population has it. So how many people are in the world right now? 2 billion?
8 billion?
It's 8 billion. So that means at least 4 billion Americans have eaten poop or swallowed it in their tap water, as the United States CDC tells you is where you get this most often. So when you lift the faucet knob in your kitchen sink and you go to drink the water, they're telling you they know that there's feces in your tap water supplying this, which is why we educate people not to stop on why it's important to filter your water, distill your water, to get these parasites and other toxic crap out of you. All right, so how does toxoplasmosis affect your eye? How does it affect you? I want you guys to see this. Anybody here have floaters in your eyes? Did y'all know that's the sign or symptom you have this parasite? An attack of active inflammation causes floaters and blurred vision. Anybody with floaters, you have parasites in your eyes. You know what's amazing about that? That means every single optometrist that's looking at your eyeball and seeing stuff floating around in there have also graduated school being told parasites do not exist in America. And guess what they're looking at with their little microscope? Oh, you have floaters. No, you have parasites swimming around in your eyeball. That's what that is. Isn't that amazing? Anybody got floaters? Anybody got Toxoplasma gondii? Yeah, you do. All right, that's toxoplasmosis. This is what it looks like when it comes to the surface of your skin and what it will look like as the infection grows in your eyeball. You'll see it on this guy's right eye, your left looking at it. And this is what it looks like when it passes the blood-uterus barrier from the pregnant mom into the baby. Remember, it said it can produce congenital malformations. This is called hydrocephalus, where the brain swells inside the baby when it's born. This is evidence of that parasite transferring from the mom into the baby. Wow. And this is what it looks like under a microscope. These things are itty-bitty creatures. See them little bitty guys? Watch this one go inside a nerve cell. Look at it. It just literally jumped inside the nerve, and it's going to start feeding on all the nutrients in the nerve cell called the neuron.
Oh, my God.
It just literally went right inside the nerve cell. So if this crosses your blood-brain barrier, which inside all vaccines is a substance called polysorbate 80, every vaccine, it is designed to punch holes, as they state, to punch holes in your blood-brain barrier to get whatever's in the vaccine through the blood-brain barrier into the brain. Well, once you damage the blood-brain barrier, it's not healing back. So it's like turning the protective armor of your brain and spinal cord into Swiss cheese with holes. So now these guys can get into your brain and create and wreak havoc on any part of your body they want, as you're drinking it and sleeping with your cat or playing in the sandbox. Now, this is exciting. I don't think too many people have actually seen this. So this is actually an article inside of EC Cancer Medical Journal. This is a very reputable cancer journal. This is actually, it just got published last month, April of 2026. It is titled Colorectal Carcinoma, which is colon cancer and parasite infections in the United States of America. Okay, not in Africa, not in Bolivia, in America. Notice the names. Who's the authors of this research study? Dr. Artis is parasitologist of 50 plus years, Omar Aman. He's out of Egypt but lives in Scottsdale, Arizona, and his son Kareem Aman. So after 10 years of data we've collected, this just got submitted 2 months ago, was peer reviewed and approved within 1 week, which is miraculous because all the data was sound. And now it is now published in eChronicon's medical journal online. You can look it up on ResearchGate. This is the title, this is how you find it. But we can conclusively show you colon cancer cases, which right now in America, it was just published by CNN last month, is the #1 killing cancer of young adults in America. Colon cancer. Colon cancer and parasite infections in the United States. This article we're able to prove. This is why this was so easy to get this peer-reviewed and published by MDs and PhDs that reviewed it. We were able to prove that 1 in 5 colon cancer patients in America, that cancer was caused by protozoa parasites called Toxoplasma gondii that you get from your tap water and from your cat's litter boxes or sandboxes. So you'll see it was just published April 6, 2026. And I'll just show you a few statements from the summary. You can go download this slide. This is really exciting for me to be a part of this. We established the relationship between colon cancer and intestinal and outside of the intestine parasites associated with other diseases and inflammatory bowel disease conditions such as ulcerative colitis, Crohn's, celiac, and IBS. So these people will have IBS, Crohn's, celiac, and ulcerative colitis for years. They have parasite infections in their intestines that are being called those conditions. And over time, the inflammation being called those conditions eventually turns into cancer. It is parasitic infections causing the diseases and ultimately being called cancer in the future. The analysis of intestinal and extraintestinal parasites were performed upon the recovery of intestinal, which is fecal matter, and tissue samples following routine parasite examinations. And we conclude there is a causal, it causes, the parasites cause cancer. Relationship was established between parasite infections and metastasis causing colorectal cancer, especially in heavy parasitic infections associated with such pathologies, diseases as IBS and colitis, ulcerative colitis. which is very exciting. 1 in 5. You can find these specific protozoa parasites in 1 in 5 colon cancer patients as they're diagnosed with cancer. In America, the title is In the USA. Isn't that exciting? It's very exciting. Okay. I don't know how they're going to call that conspiracy when I had the MDs and PhDs peer review that and approve it. That's going to be fun. Don't listen to the chiropractor say parasites exist in America anymore. Oh, wait, he's a published author? Yeah, okay, good luck. Good luck trying to convince you, all the other people, that Dr. Artis is lying to you about parasites for the last 26 years. All right, now let's look at the next parasite. This gets more fun with the videos. The other ones weren't so bad. These are the roundworms. These are the heartworms called nematodes that are in your dogs and cats that get inside of you, that got inside that lady with fibromyalgia. These are large worms that are usually tightly coiled when passed, like out of your stools or out of your urethra. Oh, I have to tell you a story about the fibromyalgia lady. As I'm looking at her on day 1, and I said, now just be prepared. When I start giving you these herbs, the parasites are going to die. You're going to go from your heart to your lungs. You're going to cough them out. And she goes, whoa, 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 whoa. I thought I was going to poop them out. I said, well, you might poop some out. You also might pee them out. And she goes, whoop. Dr. Artis, for 10 years, intermittently, I will have, while I'm peeing, and I go to wipe, I'll have something hanging out of my private. And she said, I always thought it was mucus or fungus, but when I grab it with the toilet paper and pull it out, it's usually these strings like this long. Those are the same worm parasites that were dying in her kidneys, going down the ureters into her bladder, and then being peed out of her body. And I said, oh, well, I'm glad that some of them are dying and coming out. You already know this, but eventually they're going to come out of your throat. All right, let's go back. Sorry, I just had to share it with you because I was looking at it, I was like, that's gross. Glad you thought that was mucus or fungus. And it just kept coming. It never went apart. No, film and mucus would have broken as you pulled on it. No, it was just these strings that would just. God. Oh, that was in America, by the way, in Dallas, Texas. Oh, it says they look like spaghetti. Anybody want to go to Olive Garden? Olive Garden. All right. So, what are the signs and symptoms in people? If you have these roundworms, you'll develop pneumonia-like symptoms. Skin staining from damage to internal organs. Dark pigmentation spots on the skin. Irritated retinas from damage to your eyeballs. Could you imagine having these worms inside your eyeball? The one I showed y'all earlier was on the outside of the eye, on the outside of the cornea. These are in your eyeball, attached to your retina, eating the blood supply. That's where they get their nourishment. It's from the blood, and the retina is the most blood-rich part of your eyeball. And you will see people whose retinas will detach. And they'll just be sitting there eating dinner, and then their retinas will detach, and their eyeball will fall, and their socket just roll down. Not fall out, they'll just roll down. And that is death of the retina from the parasites eating their blood supply. Oh, there's great stories of this in the documentary series on the History Channel or Discovery Channel. It used to be called Monsters Inside of Me. Did y'all ever watch that? It was all about parasites, by the way. And this lady tells the story. She's 16 years old. She lived on a farm. She's out gardening with them, and then a few months later, she's at dinner, looking at her parents, and all of a sudden she goes blind in her right eye, and the right eye falls down in her eyeball. And they take her into an optometrist. The optometrist looks in there and goes, oh, no. You need to go see a surgeon, an ophthalmologist. And they pulled out 42 worms attached to her retina.
Okay.
All right, let's keep going. This is getting more exciting. In people, this is how it is transmitted into people. Ingesting eggs through feces. Stop eating feces. Oh, any farmers out there, by the way, if you're doing organic farming, what's the fertilizer of choice? Manure. What is manure? Another word for feces. Okay, you're eating feces. In fact, parasitologists have said as we move away from chemical pesticides and herbicides and we go more to organic farming, we're going to be going back to manure as your fertilizer. There will be monumental exponential growth rates of organic food eaters having parasite infections because those worms, eggs in the manure, mixed in the soil, get drawn up into the plants, go into your fruits and vegetables, and you will eat them. That's better, by the way, than glyphosate poisoning. You can kill the parasites and get rid of them. This is just why it's important to eat healthy, eat more organic, but every 6 months or a year, we always recommend doing parasite cleanse. So ingesting eggs through feces in the soil or on pets. Every time I go to kiss your dog and cat's on the face now from now on, I look forward to seeing what your tongue draws in and ingesting items contaminated with infected feces. People most at risk is who? You read it.
Oh,
Children. Can you see it?
children. Yeah.
Children. No, hers isn't moving as fast as the one on back. Okay. Children are the most at risk for getting these roundworm parasites, which I found odd that they said that. But kids, I can imagine kids with animals and not being as sanitary oriented, wanting to clean and wash their hands all the time. I have to tell you, I was actually flown to see a family in California, and just outside of Napa. This is in 2014. I was flown there because a girl, she was 14 years old, could not leave the valley she lived in, because if she goes out of the valley to go, I mean, even if it goes up 100 feet elevation, she'll go out into a grand mal seizure. So she can't leave the valley to go get seen by people. She can't be flown anywhere. She just has to stay in the valley. But ever since she was like 3 years old, she would develop grand mal seizures all the time, but elevation just makes them worse. So she couldn't leave. So they flew me in to come see her, and she had parasites, actually these parasites, and they were in her heart and in her brain, these. And the dad looked at me and goes, where would you get these parasites from? And I said, they come from eating feces. And the dad looks at the mom and goes, I told you. And the mom goes, what? Because you weren't paying attention to this conversation, side conversation. He just said she got these parasites from eating poop. And you need to tell him where she got it. Talking to the mom. Because I told you to keep her out of there. Okay, so they live on a nice little 2-acre property or 3-acre property. And then the mom starts telling me that at 2 years old, when they would wake up, they would often find her outside the house. When they would wake up like 8 a.m., she'd already be up and out of the house. The little girl would unlock the back door and be outside. And they would find her in the chicken coop, eating chicken poop.
Huh?
Every day. And eventually they had to put locks high up on the doors that she couldn't reach, because she would sneak out there into the chicken poop and just for some reason like to eat gooey chicken poop in the chicken coop. So they're looking at me like, this went on for years and we had no idea that that's what she was doing out there. Then when we figured out that's what she had all over her face, was it wasn't just playing with the baby chickens or playing with chickens, it was actually her eating the poop. We had to lock her in to keep her from getting outside to eat chicken poop.
Wow.
For some reason, people eat poop. I don't know why. Y'all should stop. And y'all should teach your kids not to do it. This is what these parasites look like. Just so y'all know. It looks just like spaghetti.
Oh, God.
So these are the ones the lady with fibromyalgia was pulling them out of her tongue. Like she would feel something on the back of her tongue and just pull them out. And these are in humans, by the way, all of them.
Is that a real picture? That's a real picture.
That is real photos.
That's a lot.
And this is actually a section of intestine that was removed in a patient. So he cut out sections in like a Crohn's patient, took it out, and then they found all these worms inside of it attached.
Oh my God.
All right, so play the film.
This story is not for the squeamish. Doctors in India found 14 roundworms wriggling in a woman's bile duct. The woman had gone to the hospital with symptoms including abdominal pain and fever.
Those are worms moving, by the way. That's not devices.
Doctors then used snares and forceps in an endoscopic procedure to remove the worms. Some of them measured over half a foot. It calls to mind a case from California reported earlier this year in which a man pulled a tapeworm from his own digestive system. He allegedly contracted the parasite from improperly prepared sushi. Roundworms are contracted through contact with contaminated soil. Doctors say they're typically found in the intestines and not the bile duct. After the procedure, the woman reported feeling much better. This is InsideEdition.com.
So this is a person complaining of gallbladder pain. Every time I eat, I get this gallbladder pain. They go in and find 14 roundworms, some of them over half a foot, living in the bile duct. And they take it out. Then they reference the story in the same year here in America. A guy pulled out they showed it. He actually took this little, like, I don't even know, like a gift wrapping cardboard tube, and he puts the tapeworm out of his mouth, wraps it, and starts rotating. It ends up 25-foot-long tapeworm he pulls out of his body, and that was on Inside Edition also. In America. In America, of all places. All right, let's go back. That was yummy. We're not done. This is going to get better.
Oh, no. I can't take it.
Play. Everybody enjoy this one.
Oh, God.
So this guy's got a roundworm in his eyeball. It's going to get better.
Oh, my God. Can't. I can't. Brian.
This is actually my eye. Oh no, y'all gotta see this because your MDs are gonna tell you parasites do not exist in America.
This is real.
This is real. And uncensored.
I can't. I'm done.
All right, so there's the roundworms. Is that yummy? There's some spaghetti noodles right back there. Anybody hungry? Want a snack?
God.
All right, so that's some examples of roundworms. Now we're going to go to tapeworms because tapeworms are the fourth category of parasites that even humans in America get, your animals get. All right, so these are worms with a flattened ribbon-like appearance. They're long and flat. You just saw one that was 25 feet long, kind of. People, most are without symptoms. You know what's amazing about these? We'll show you some. You know, there was a time in Hollywood where women and actresses wanted to stay thin. They would have these inserted and implanted into their intestines.
What?
To live in there. To eat food off of them to keep them skinny. For Hollywood.
What?
This was very, very popular for a long time. All right, so wait, save it. We're going back up. Sorry, I just had to talk about the crazy things people do for beauty. Put a worm in me. People, most are without symptoms, but diarrhea, abdominal pain, and anal itching are possible. People, you ingest infected fleas is how you get this one. Now, just so y'all know, I actually did not know this until I was building this out and saw this. I was like, fleas? Who ingests fleas? Well, where do you get fleas? Usually from your animals. So stop licking your animals. Or inhaling their fleas. I don't know. I found that interesting, actually, that they want to blame fleas. And people most at risk are children under 8 years old again. That's what I find interesting. Did you know that in Mexico, by the way, anybody from Mexico in here? Supposedly, in Mexico, all children starting at 6 months old are treated with ivermectin for parasite infection.
Wow.
Yep, it's just standard. You start treating them for parasites at 6 months old. You know what they do in America? Flu vaccines starting at 6 months old and every year until you die. Amazing. So it says here to prevent it, make sure your pets get strict monthly flea control. All right. Well, that's where you get it. All right. These are what they look like. They're just bigger and wider than the spaghetti you just saw, called roundworms. And this is what they look like. These are real ones, just in a pan, moving. That's one big, long, ribbon-like tapeworm that was pulled out of a body.
It's moving. Oh, God.
Now, if you were trying to make it in Hollywood, would you have one of those inserted inside?
No, thank you.
Just for
No, I'm good.
I just want to stay thin.
Right.
All right, so this is from parasitetesting.com in America, in Scottsdale, Arizona. I just want to highlight this for everybody. On their website, if you have any of these symptoms, these are the most common symptoms a human being can have any day, any period of any given day. That is a tall tale sign you most likely have parasites causing your symptoms. So I like to throw this up there because people might go, well, my symptom doesn't appear to be a worm. Are you sure? Diarrhea? How many people have IBS-D, irritable bowel syndrome, diarrhea? How many people have ulcerative colitis, celiacs, food poisoning, and have diarrhea? Constipation, man, I think 80% of Americans constipated do not have full bowel movements every 24 hours. That is a sign of parasite infection. Irritable bowel syndrome, cramps. Anybody have cramps? Sierra, you ever had cramps? Yeah. That's my daughter over there. She's a daughter. She's a female. Females know what cramps are. Cramps, bloating. You know, men don't bloat. Only women bloat. You ever notice that? How many men do you hear say, I feel bloated? You know, I don't know why. I've heard a couple.
I've heard a couple.
But not very many. They're like, man, I'm gassy. The girls are like, no, I'm just bloated. Just let it rip, girl. Let it rip. Like the man does. Malabsorption, mucus in your stools, fatigue. Anybody dealing with fatigue, chronic fatigue? That is a sign of parasites. Why? I have to tell you this one. Fatigue often is accompanied by a blood draw, and then that blood draw, your medical doctor is going to tell you that you are anemic. What is anemia? By definition, he's looking at your blood work and he's like, you're anemic. What does it mean? Low iron. Okay, iron is found bound to one type of blood cell in your body called red blood cells. And do you know what roundworms and tapeworms eat more than anything else in the human body? Red blood cells. That's what they love feeding on. That's why they like living in your spleen, by the way, which destroys all your old red blood cells. They like to eat that excess iron and red blood cells. Okay. So for those of you dealing with fatigue, been told you are anemic, you most likely have parasites that are eating your red blood cells, destroying your iron load, period, just so you know. Nausea. As far as fatigue goes, by the way, by definition, fatigue, if you wake up in the morning and you feel as tired as you did before you went to bed, you are fatigued, chronically. I just woke up. Why do I feel like I'm just as tired as I was before I went to bed? You are chronically fatigued. You most likely have parasites. Anybody dealing with nausea consistently, you have parasites. If you have ulcers, colitis, Crohn's, celiac, you have parasites. You have parasites. You have parasites. You did not inherit a genetic disorder. You have a worm living inside you with a whole bunch of babies it's laying eggs for. Skin rashes, eczema, psoriasis, you have parasites. Dry cough, lymph blockage, allergies. Like if you have swollen lymph nodes in like your groin area, under your armpit and your neck, you've got parasites. And they're congesting your lymph. If you have allergy symptoms, chronic allergies, hay fever, you most likely have parasites, and they're most likely in your liver and your spleen, and there's ways of getting those out. Joint pain. So joints, I have to explain this. If you have lupus, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, gouty arthritis, psoriatic arthritis, remember that's rashes with joint pain, psoriatic arthritis. All right, so if you have both, the reason why all those conditions have joint pain, and it says here, if you have joint pain, you most likely have parasites. If you live with chronic joint pain, I'm not sure you know this, but your spleen sits here on the left side of your rib cage, right behind your ribs. Liver's on the right, spleen's on the left. The spleen's the largest lymph node in your body, and it's about the size of your fist. The tonsils are the second largest in your throat. When the spleen gets parasites inside of it, and the spleen will enlarge, your spleen will start telling the lymph nodes in your body to start making more lymph. And the lymph only comes out of your body or travels through your body through what are called lymph vessels. So every lymph node, tonsil, spleen are all connected by these vessels that look like blood vessels, but there's no blood in them. It's called lymph, clear lymph fluid. Mucus, boogers, snot, that's all lymph, by the way. It's moving through that lymph system. Your lymph system is not like your cardiovascular system. You have blood and blood vessels and miles of them in your body. And how does your body circulate the blood through those blood vessels? You have a pump, and that pump is called your heart. So while you're sleeping, it's still moving all the blood through those through those blood vessels. Your lymph system has no pump that works automatically all day long. The lymph system is 100% reliant on your joints to pump the lymph. So when you get sick, anybody ever had the flu? And on day 3 and 4, all joints in your body hurt? I don't even want to move them. Yeah, that's the infection is now in every part of your lymph system, and the joints are going to be swollen as a result. No different when the parasites get inside your spleen. All the lymph nodes are producing more lymph nodes than normal, and they're all being pumped and forced into your synovial sacs called joints, and they are swelling. So people that live with chronic joint pain, you have parasites, and they're in your spleen. You just need to dump the spleen. The spleen dumps into your large intestine, you poop out all the parasites, and as that happens, over 2 to 3 months, all your joint pain will disappear. Just so you know. You are not aspirin, Tylenol, Motrin deficient. That is not why you have joint pain. You are not prednisone deficient. You have infections, parasites particularly, living in your spleen and lymph system. Would you like that? Okay. And as you clear that up for a psoriasis patient, their psoriatic plaques will disappear, their joint pain will disappear. It's amazing. All right, let's go. Next slide. Or we'll stay here. Brain fog, anybody? Memory loss, dementia, parasites in the brain, dermatitis, that's rashes on the skin, and then headaches. Anybody ever have headaches? If you have consistent, reoccurring headaches, cluster headaches, migraine headaches, sinus headaches, you have parasites. And in any case, you should be tested for parasites. So on this website, parasitetesting.com, if you click on Parasites Learning Resources tab, this is where you get here. And it actually walks you through the 8 most common sources of where you get parasites, from your pets, from your water, from your soil, from your food, above this on that page. But if you want to order the stool sample test to find out if any of your symptoms are being caused by that, this is where you go. At parasitetesting.com, up at the top on the homepage, you'll see test. You click the test button. This is the first one that pulls up. And then I'm going to show you guys how you read this test, because you're going to submit a stool sample test and then the results are going to come back, and I want to show you how you read it. If you click this view sample report, this is what shows up. And you probably don't know how to read this, so I'm going to show you how to read it. This is me empowering you how to know if you have parasites, and if your medical doctor says, don't listen to Elizabeth Carson, Dr. Artist, their uncensored tour, parasites do not exist in America, you're going to pull this out of your email and go like this. Here, you can read this. These are my stool sample tests, and I live in America. And look at the highlighted parasites I have. And after you study this, memorize this, you can now go wipe your rear end with it, use it as toilet paper, because we just taught you crap you never even learned in school. All right. Here we go. This is how you read it. This is how it looks. This is page 1 of 2. In the box, it says intestinal parasites. This is how you read the test. Normal value is 0, meaning there are no parasites. Okay? So from the box below the box I have in red is the different types of parasites they're testing for, all 4 types. All right, so reference range 0 means negative, you don't have any, all the way up to 4. So 1 to 4, you'll see a number 1 to 4 if you have the parasites. You'll see the number next to the parasite in bold on this test. Okay. So these are protozoa parasites, and I just put it in a box. Protozoa parasites, and all the different types of protozoa parasites this one test kit tests for. If you ordered a test kit from your medical doctor right now in America, they will send your stool sample to LabCorp, Quest, and Genova Labs. Quest and LabCorp only test for one of those protozoa in that list. 1. But LabCorp and Quest both title the parasite test Comprehensive Stool Sample Parasite Test. Comprehensive, but only tests for one of those. And that is it. It doesn't test for roundworms, flukes, tapeworms. It only tests for that one protozoa. If you go to Genova, which is the only other lab in America, you can order a stool sample test by your medical doctor. Genova Labs only test for one type of parasite also, the same one, protozoas, and only test for 3 of the ones you see in this box. So how comprehensive are those? And what's the chances you're going to get a negative test result when they're only testing for 1 in 2 of those tests and only 3 in 1 of the other? All right, so for the example, you'll see Entamoeba coli, and it goes down the names of the different ones. What you see here is Lamblia is the second part of the name of this parasite. In bold, you'll notice everything else in that box is not bolded. There's only 1 bolded, and you'll see to the right of it, you'll see a 1 and the word cysts. That means that's the amount on a scale of 1 to 4, how much of this specific protozoa parasite is in the stool sample. And it's in a cyst form, meaning it's in this little scar tissue cocoon, because it's aware that either other parasites are competing for food, so they will cocoon themselves and wait for them to die so they can hatch and go eat off of you, or these are eggs being shed out of the stool itself. Then you'll see below there is trematodes. These are flukes, and just for everybody at home, there is an incredible book called How to Cure All Cancers, written in 1995 by a scientist in Canada named Helda Clark. She literally has a book titled How to Cure All Cancers, and it is 100 different cancers, Elizabeth. 100 different cancers.
Wow.
She gives them 3 plants for 5 days and cures 100% of them of cancer.
Wow.
She gave them sweet wormwood, red clove oil and green walnut hull extract for 5 days, cured 100% of them of cancer. And all she treated was fluke parasites in 100% of their livers. So they look for flukes here.
Wow.
In order to put this whole first page on here, I couldn't put the whole thing. I had to crop it and put it on the slide. But the names of the flukes are underneath there on this actual test report. These are your tapeworms they test for. They test for 5 different types of tapeworms that can be found here in Americans. Nematode roundworms, those big ones that look like spaghetti that my fibromyalgia patient was pulling out of her mouth. Those are the various, I think there's 8 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 different roundworm parasites by name. If those are positive in your stool test, they will be bolded, like the one to the left over here, with a number next to it. Okay. Then they're going to show you this on page 2. On page 2, they're going to show you the name, Giardia. Then they're going to, in this case, in the sample report, then they're going to teach you how it's transmitted into you, how you got it, which I like as education, so you can learn in the future how to hopefully not expose yourself again to that parasite. True or false? If you got parasites once and I get them out of you, can you get them again?
Yeah.
Yeah, if your dog licks his rear end and then licks your tongue while you want him to kiss you, and then you get parasites from that, and I wipe those out of you, treating you for 3 months, and then you go back and have your dog lick you again on your face, do you think you can get it again?
Yeah.
Yes. So if you were diagnosed with fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus before, and I got rid of your parasites in 3 months, then you went back and had your dog lick you again, and you got those parasites again, do you think you could get those conditions again? Of course you can.
Yeah.
And there's no way you can say you didn't cure me before. Yes, we did. You just decided to go lick another rear end licking animal's mouth. All right. On this report, they will teach you about the parasite, where you get it from, what the transmission is, how often you get it, mature cyst and contaminated food, water, or hands. That's what they tell you there. The incubation period before it hatches in your body is 1 to 3 weeks, they tell you. So you ingest the eggs from your animal, and it just sits there, waiting to hatch for like 3 weeks. Symptoms are diarrhea, gas, flatulent, greasy stool that can float, stomach or abdominal cramps, upset stomach, nausea, dehydration, and weight loss. Some people don't even have symptoms. Without proper treatment, you can be a carrier for years. Then, the great thing about this report, for any of you out there that still love the medical profession that tells you parasites don't exist in America, but you want to go to them to get a prescription, great thing about this guy, this parasitologist, he actually will tell you which prescription drug is the most effective against the parasite you just tested positive for on your stool sample test. And in this case, it's albendazole by prescription. Or you can go down to the local feed store and get that from your local feed store for your animals. Take it yourself. All right, so that's for allopathic treatment. Then he will tell you the Freedom Cleanse Restore protocol is recommended for herbal treatments. He does not recommend drugs, but if you like drugs, he tells you which ones work. But the combination of plants he's put together in this supplement kit called Freedom Cleanse Restore is what I always recommend and use. This is albendazole. I just took that statement from the report, put it up at the top. I want you to see this is a prescription drug called albendazole that comes in these forms. But if you want to do the Freedom Cleanse Restore protocol, which I'm highlighting up there in the second part of the sentence, you go to the Shop All button on the Dr. Ardis Show. You will see parasite test down here. You'll also see parasite treatment. If you click that parasite treatment, you get to Freedom Cleanse Restore, which is this 3-piece kit. Okay? And then my recommendation is if you test positive for any of these parasites and you choose to do the herbal remedy, which is the Freedom Cleanse Restore kit, you do that for 3 months straight. There's a 90-day supply option. You do it for 3 months, then you stop all of your anti-parasitic products for 2 weeks, then you redo the stool sample test to make sure all your parasites are gone. If any come back positive, you continue doing it another 3 months and then redo the stool sample until they're all gone. And then I would encourage everybody at least once a year, redo your stool sample test because you could be asymptomatic, no symptoms for a year while those bugs are growing in your body. But every year I would encourage you to do that. Now I just want to show you this. We actually don't sell this kit. You get to it through our website. When you click that green button, purchase from PCI Wellness, it just redirects you to parasitetesting.com to get the test kit. So if you buy anything from parasitetesting.com, getting the stool sample kit or this supplement kit, I want to show you this down here. The parasitologist, Dr. Omar Alman, who is co-author with me on that research study showing colorectal cancer and parasites in the U.S., because of my educating the world of parasites for the last 10 years and encouraging people to go to his site, he has a 10% discount off on anything purchased through that site. Doesn't do anything for me, but if y'all want to save any money, there you go. Put the discount code ARTIS 10 exclamation point, and Artis is all capitals. So lots of people take advantage of that. Lastly, what I love about this is it teaches you how to prevent getting these in the future. So if we've relieved you of your symptoms, you no longer have headaches, you no longer have bloating, you're feeling wonderful, wouldn't you like to know how to not be exposed to this again? You didn't like how you felt the first time. All right, so it tells you what to do. So unpurified tap water, avoid uncooked foods washed with unboiled or unpurified tap water. If you move me so you can see the rest of it, I don't even know what that last part reads. Move my little video window. There you go. Avoid oral, anal, sexual contact. I never even thought about that, actually, when I was talking earlier about eating feces. This doesn't come up for me. Maybe it comes up for you. I would like to warn any of you, oral, anal, sexual contact is a way to eat feces. Okay, we want you to avoid that. Very good. All right, so that's my presentation on parasites. What you are not wanting to be told is true from the medical profession and their textbooks in medical school. I do not actually blame the medical profession for not telling you this. They're not taught they even exist, but it's a big, big deal. All right, these are. Would y'all like to see what these chunks of meat that have actually been pressurized and canned in heat that no infection or living creature or organism should ever have lived in ever for more than like a minute? This is days after canning, and these pieces of meat you're about to watch that have been mRNA injected are literally alive and trying to breathe. Watch these pieces of meat that have been canned and cooked at temperatures no meat should ever live through. Watch these things try to breathe, and it's trying to breathe for 3 days. It's crazy. Listen, from an MD sent to me. But you'll watch these things, look, they're blowing air.
Oh my God.
And you'll watch, they'll swim around. It's crazy. And you'll watch them like get desperate, and they'll flick around, and all this stuff will just fly around in the jar. It's crazy. Meat doesn't breathe like that, by the way. So there were discussions during COVID-19 about hydras. You see this over here? Like, float around. Okay, dead meat doesn't swim. Just so y'all know. So this is an MD who canned her own meat. She's been doing it forever and ever and ever. She's like, Dr. Artis, I cannot eat this meat. I have to show you what it's doing. There's one trying to breathe over here. Other one's like swimming, trying to breathe. All of these at some point were releasing air and water, air and bubbles the whole time. This went on for days. She would just send me update videos all the time. I was like, so there was this term that was being used about COVID-19 vaccines that Hydra were being introduced into our bodies. Hydra being this forever living parasite, looks like a squid octopus with tentacles. And this is what she took from this. She's like, I think they injected this in our animals and nothing kills these creatures, called Hydra. So that is what she saw there. Does that look delicious to you? So just so y'all know, all the cattle during COVID-19, 90% of all of our beef being brought in for grocery stores is actually coming from China. And in 2021, they started mRNA vaccinating all cattle in China for COVID-19, which is why she was wanting me to make sure the world knew about this. Now, this is something very important, I believe everybody on Earth should see, and if you guys haven't seen it, it comes up because of the mRNA vaccines and what we just showed you with this beef, okay? So inside the mRNA vaccines, it was alluded to, there could be nanotech. Did y'all hear about this in the shots, right? Okay, so some of you may have already seen this, which is good. This came in 2022. This is actually a research institute in Spain called La Quinta, like the hotel chain, La Quinta Columna. So these researchers in Spain had already taken mRNA vaccines from Pfizer and Moderna, dried them out, and found thousands of little microchips on the slide where the contents inside these vials used to be. So they just poured it out, they evaporated the water, and all that was left were all these little microchips. So they'd already confirmed that, this group did. Then they wanted to know, we're hearing that dentists around the world are concerned that nanotech might be in dental anesthetics, where they're injecting you with lidocaine to numb your mouth for procedures, and they wanted to see, do those injections also have nanotech? So La Quinta Columna ordered dental anesthetics, which I also have at my house, by the way. I have a ton of dental anesthetics because dentists around the world, before this group did this, were worried about this. So they confirmed those little bitty chips, by the way, you see on the background, those are microchips in the dental anesthetic. You're about to watch this. This is a video. So this group in Spain in 2022 says out loud, we are going to test a theory of Dr. Brian Ardis and his claims that tobacco is the cure for all things COVID and the nanotech in the COVID-19 vaccines. Would y'all like to see what they figured out? Quoting this research group, they said, share this video around the world. There's no more important video that needs to be shared around the world than this one. So there we go.
The following video is probably one of the most important that you will watch in today's world. Rafa Calvin from La Quinta
Rafa Calvin is the researcher.
is looking at dental anesthetic at 100 times magnification.
100 times
You will
magnification.
see the nanotechnology, the microchips that self-assemble. We've already seen those in the Pfizer vaccine and other injectables. Rafa
We've already seen these in the other Pfizer and other
dried out the
injectables.
sample
Wow.
for 30 days, and then he's looking at the sample under 100 times magnification. You will see hundreds of nanotechnology and microtech.
Show the whole video. Let it run.
Rafa then mixed 1 gram of tobacco in 5 cc's of distilled water and let it steep. He then puts a small amount of the tobacco in the water mix with the pipette onto a slide
So he mixed distilled water with tobacco.
on top of the dental anesthetic. You can now see that the nanotech is totally destroyed
They're dropping it right now.
the nicotine mixture.
Watch what nicotine does from the
Dr.
plant.
Brian Ardis stated that nicotine was the very thing that could destroy nanotechnology. Rafa has confirmed.
It literally is crawling at all the microchips. It literally goes around the slide, eating all of them.
Please share this video everywhere. We are now looking at how we can deliver nicotine in the correct dosage in a liposomal form, just like the liposomal and microsomal that we use on the EDTA, which obviously gets
It like gets all excited and brings all of its buddies and grabs the whole microchip and swallows it whole. Look at that,
This
digesting.
is life-changing.
Similar to how all you Americans eat
What you're
animal
seeing
poop.
here is
Nicotine eats microchips.
steeped in distilled water being placed on dental anesthetics, and you can literally see the nanotechnology dissolve, be destroyed and dispersed
So it's the nicotine inside of the tobacco.
on any platform. Puts
So now they're
us
going to drop another sample and watch it just go around the whole
here,
thing.
as we know, but somebody has
Look
to
at like
show
a wave.
the solutions to these pollutions. And we are a team of microscopists that don't want to make money out of anybody. We want to give you free solutions. We're not affiliated
Yes.
to tobacco industry or nicotine, but obviously you need nicotine.
Isn't that incredible?
in its purest form.
Yeah, nicotine has been known as an anti-helminthic. Helminths are your tapeworms.
Obviously,
The big ropeworm.
harmful substances.
But look at that. Watch it bounce off and then come right back at it.
At its purest form,
Like,
and
eat you.
nicotine at its purest form. So watch
That's pretty
this
miraculous.
space.
So they even said there, said you need to share this everywhere because there really is this truth that tobacco has this nutrient inside of it with this God-given intelligence. Watch it. It's intelligent. It literally is like wandering around, swimming like a wave, and just eating up all these microchips, which is phenomenal. Was that awesome?
Wow.
That was awesome, right?
Yeah.
So when people walk up to me all around the world, they go, well, Dr. Sorry, how long do I need to wear nicotine patches for? And I go, I don't know. How long do you want to wear it for? And then they look at me and go, well, how long would you wear them for? And I'm like, well, this is actually what I tell people. I'm going to invite you right now, even if it's a stranger. I'm going to invite all of you at home to come to my wake one day. And as y'all come around to the casket, I want you to lift my shirt. I'm going to be buried with my nicotine patch on. So I don't know how long you want to wear one, but I'm going to be wearing one every single day. And you can ask my kids. There's 2 of them over there. Every day I'm wearing those nicotine patches. If they get sick, if they're worried, I'm like, get your nicotine patch. I mean, my own daughter over there, my own son had hearing issues with stuffiness in their ears or losing their hearing. And I would just tell them, put a nicotine patch on that side of their shoulder. And within 48 hours, all their hearing would come back.
Wow, inflammation.
Even the last 2 years, and these are just teenagers or young adults, which is amazing. So, so anyway, I hope you enjoyed that presentation. I hope it wasn't too traumatizing, but it gave me some hope at the end, right? So that's pretty amazing. Oh, we have an exciting announcement. I have an exciting announcement. Okay. We got a slide ready for that? All right, I've been working secretly for 1.5 years with my team and with another doctor I admire, love, and have followed for 25 years, literally. And her name is Dr. Sherry Timpany. And over the last year, so 1.5 years ago, I was invited by Scott McKay, Patriot Street Fighter, to go to an event in Ohio where he was in a big barn and arena. I was asked to go there and present. I flew in and flew out same day, but while I was there, I grabbed Dr. Sherry Timpany, who was also there. I pulled her aside and I said, I have to talk to you about something. God has shown me that I need to make something and you're to be involved. And she's like, well, what is it? And so I told her, and she couldn't believe it. Literally put her head in her hands, she goes in her face, and she goes like this, I cannot believe no one else has thought of this. I can't believe I didn't think about this. I said, well, it just came to me, and it won't leave my mind, won't leave my heart, and I have to do this. Okay, so you guys know I like educating, and I like trying to make things simple, easy for people to follow. Well, there's one assault, I believe, that is intentionally being injected into all of us from the time we were born in America that is creating profits, greed, forever, the rest of your lifetime, and that would be vaccines. So, for 25 years, I've been on this little Papa Bear journey protecting my own children and finding ways to go to United States county health offices, meeting with independent school districts, principals, doctors, it didn't matter. I was meeting with everybody, going to government offices, looking for ways to exempt my kids from vaccines in public school, right? So these 2 kids sitting over here, they're actually joining us today. They've never been vaccinated, never have had a vaccine, have been through public school every single year. And I've gotten exemptions for them every single year to make sure they never had to get it done, but it was a lot of work. It's not easy, and they do not make it easy. I also, before doing this, spent a ton of time having to go from website to website, to document, to pages, to printouts, to try to get enough information to make an informed decision about these vaccines. And they intentionally keep it so far spread out that it's very difficult for people to actually get all the information to make an informed decision. And oh my God, if somebody would have had this impression before 25 years ago, my oldest is 25, life would have been so much easier if somebody would have had this idea 25 years ago for me. So I told Sherry Timpany what my goal was, and that I told her, I prayed about it, I want to know, is anybody else supposed to get involved in this project? And it was just her and I. So for 1 year, we have been working on this, and now I am going to show you what it is, and we are going to invite for the first time ever, we're going to show you how you can get on a wait list to know when this is ready, because it's going to be ready next month for people to have. But it is taking a ton of work to do this. But I'm going to show you what it is. I'm very excited. I did not even know until my team told me this week, you're going to mention this at the Uncensored event and for everybody at home watching. And I was like, oh, rock and roll. We're ready. Yes, we're ready. All right, so this is actually called the Vax app. So this is an app that anybody can download on their phone, and it has all the essential information about every single vaccine that is on a CDC schedule for an infant, newborn, teenager, adolescent, elderly, it doesn't matter. The entire schedule for your vaccines are built into the app. It's on your phone. It's always with you when you're at your doctor's office and they tell you it's time for you or someone to get a vaccine. You can confirm within 2 seconds. Let me just make sure that information is correct. Hit it, look at your schedule. You can see if that age group is appropriate for you and that vaccine is actually recommended for you. And then you have all the power within 2 seconds to look at them and go like this. Hey, doc, I'm opening up my Vax app. Hey, doc, you just said I need the new shingles vaccine now that I'm 60. I just opened my app. I see there's multiple shingles vaccines. Which one are you carrying here in your office that you're going to give me? And your MD is going to look at you and go, excuse me? And you're going to go, I see there's 3 or 4 of these shingles vaccines. Which ones do you carry here? Your MD will never know that there's more than one. He'll have no clue. She'll have no clue. And you will ask them, can you please find out which one it is you have? Because I have all the information about the vaccine right here you're telling me I need. And I have some questions I want to ask you. All the questions are in the app, by the way. What questions to ask your doctor about this vaccine? And then there are drop-down windows on here for every vaccine. What's in it? What ingredients in it, how much of that ingredient is in there. So for example, when they tell you need a hepatitis B vaccine for your newborn, you can click the hepatitis B vaccine and you will see under ingredients, you'll click the tab and the window will drop and it will show you every ingredient and the amount that's in there summarized right there in the app. The first ingredient, by the way, you will see in one of your hepatitis B vaccines is Chinese hamster ovary cells. You will immediately be able to go like this. Great, hold on. Can you explain to me, Doc, how Chinese hamster ovaries are going to help my young newborn nephew? It's a boy.
Take my food
B,
out, but here's somebody.
Hepatitis? How's that work? Also, the first ingredient is ovary cells. By definition, hepatitis B is what kind of it?
Huh? No, it's fine. Hi. Come on in. What can we do for you?
I have some watches that need repair.
Okay. What kind of repair? Batteries or?
Batteries and a band.
Okay.
Just wanted to, yeah. And then depending on, anyway, maybe down the line, some other stuff. So this needs a band.
Oh, yes. Whee.
But
Okay.
it's like, it's working and
Okay.
yeah, it's been in a box for forever. So depending on how much we're talking, all 3 of these need batteries. Can't figure out how to open it.
Yeah, they're all 18 each.
Okay.
And this I have to measure and see if we have the band.
Okay.
Looks like I have the band,
Perfect.
and it's 20.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. Great! Because half the time, there's so many different configurations of the cases that the bands, you could have 100 and none of them fit.
Oh.
So this is nice.
Like I said, we found it yesterday when we were cleaning out the garage.
Oh.
And,
Oh.
he,
And it's working.
it's working and it's set for the right time and date.
That's so funny.
Yeah, cause it's probably been in a box like 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Were these others in boxes too?
Yeah.
Cause this one has corrosion on the outside.
Okay, so does that mean it can't be fixed?
I have to see if it's gonna run.
This one, no, I've been using it, but yeah,
Okay,
the other ones,
yeah, so
They've been,
we'll check them out.
oh, look at you, you're just leaning. Oh, goodness.
Oh, my wedding ring?
Your multiple rings. The, especially with the, anyway, the setting. With the baguette standing it up.
Yeah,
That's a bit unusual, but good for you.
I designed that a long time ago.
And I guess you tighten it so you don't have to worry about losing them.
Of course. We make the jewelry here.
Yeah, I have some family diamonds that I need to put in something, so I'll start wearing them.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Probably something similar to this cigar band, and then just put all the rest of them. 'Cause I hate not wearing them, and it's like at least 5 or 6.
Oh, yeah.
And they're only about a half a carat a piece, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh. These are gold plated. Do you have?
Some are gold plated, some are gold filled. The 14 karat ones are in the top left of the
Okay.
case with the light on. Yeah, that one that had the corrosion, it's not working.
Okay. Well, it's probably at least 30 years old, so.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess it has to be retired.
Retirement.
Yeah, that's the one I wear all the time.
Okay. I'll get it, that's all right.
I did it. It just, you had to do it a certain way.
Right.
Track it to the bottom and then the top.
Been doing it for 11 years.
What? It's kind of like not tracking?
Closing it.
Oh, yeah.
We've been here 11 years.
Okay. I was a little lost, I'm not gonna lie.
What do you mean?
When I was coming, anyway,
Oh,
I did
come-
MapQuest, but it didn't feel like I was going in the right direction even though I was.
Yeah, it feels like you're going opposite to how
Uh-huh.
you should.
Uh-huh.
Did you come from Hollister?
Yes, how could you tell? Do I look like I just,
No, but most people that come from Hollister, you know, they ask and I tell them, it's gonna feel like you're going backwards when you go north and then you have to go over the freeway. We have lots of Hollister customers.
yeah, oh gosh, she was actually the person who, I wanna say Vivian?
Oh, Medina?
I don't know her, I mean, I should know her last name, but
That's Medina.
yeah, she's a character.
She's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. So, anyway, cause I was like, you know, she wears all of her jewelry all the time.
Yes, she
And
does.
so I was like, where do you know, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, oh, this is where I go. You know, and I was like,
Great.
okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. Cause she has, one of her settings is similar to what I'll probably do with my diamonds. So I was like, okay, this is somebody who might know what I want.
Yeah, we can do whatever you want.
Thanks. Well, yeah. And I hate to say it, but I've probably lost more jewelry than,
Oh,
yeah, yep. Like, stuff that I never should have lost. But I've also lost things and found them again. So, you know, they've been run over by cars.
oh my God.
Yeah, my tennis bracelet was yeah. Anyway, it's okay.
Oh, good.
But yeah, when I realized I lost it, my husband was not happy. But
I'm sure not.
we found it within 2 hours, 3 hours.
Oh, you are so fortunate.
Yes, and yes. Anyway, so I kinda, he's not necessarily going to be happy that I'm spending more money on jewelry. So I have to be cost conscious.
Well, you're using your heirlooms,
That's the way I feel.
so it makes a difference.
Yeah. And yeah. And there's a bunch of, yeah. I'm not gonna do a Vivian and wear everything, but I would like to at least have something that's displaying my mom's diamonds.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, yeah. Shoot, that's my own fault. I left this for too long. But it's like 40 years old.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. 45.
It could have something else wrong with it, you know, being that age. It could have a circuit board that's bad or something.
Yeah.
Can I throw this old one away?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, I was trying to make the decision if I was going to let you throw this one away too.
Oh.
It's like okay, maybe the band's worth holding onto. Got me through some interesting times when I was a nurse.
Okay, before I get super excited, I have to see that this is gonna fit. Okay, I think it will. Yay! I'm so happy about that, because that never happens.
Really?
Yeah, it's always, something is off with Casios on the bands that they sell, that they say are Casio bands. And yours is perfect, so I'm grateful for that. And here's
And so is my husband.
oh, good.
Okay, wow. So all three of them are in working order.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we've got two
Can-
batteries and one band.
And the hoops up there to the right. Do you have a heavier weight hoop?
I have just what's here.
Okay.
They're so expensive, the heavier weight. These are $750.
Okay. Yeah, especially with gold now.
Right.
I have so many that I only have one.
Oh, and they won't sell just one to me.
Yeah, well, if they won't sell it to you, they won't sell it to me. But like I said, he's tired of buying, but I want something quicker. I definitely want something quicker. But I feel like I'm supposed to buy something else.
So you want it thick like this. Yeah, these, if these were in gold, they'd be probably like $1,500.
Really?
Yeah. Price them that one to go for a client.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this is more vacant.
These are gold plated sterling, $250. I made them.
Okay. I'll take those two.
Oh, the earrings? Yeah. Oh, okay. Wow.
Were you surprised?
Well, you were wanting to
I want
know.
that. I want
Yeah.
that. But I'll take this because
They're nice.
I don't have anything right now.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, that, it slides into the hoop. It
Okay.
closes so nicely.
Are you sure? This
I'm
looks a little bit-
positive.
This looks a little bit. Take a look. Yeah, I don't want to.
That's the way they're made.
No, I believe you. I just don't want to, like, have problems with it.
So when you open them, you just do that. When you close them, you'll hear it. That's why I bought the Italian made ones. But they are,
How will I stand up to? How delicate do I need to be with it?
Well, you shouldn't sleep in them,
No.
you know,
Okay.
so they're pretty sturdy, they're strong. They're a
More
strong
to
wall.
like chemicals or just what?
Oh, yeah, chemicals are no good.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
Like if I have any hairspray or any product in my
you
hair.
put your earrings on last after hairspray. You should always do that with any jewelry. We've just cleaned, the sushi chef's wife's chain 3 times because she won't stop wearing cream all over her neck.
She
Yeah,
doesn't want wrinkles.
yeah, well, yeah, so anyway, do you still want them? They're pretty.
No, and they're the right size.
Yeah. Okay, so this one didn't fit in there, in here. I think it was close.
No, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
You
don't want
don't need to close it.
Okay. Pamela, I'm Claudia.
Hi,
Nice to
Claudia.
meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I don't think he cares, but if down the road that, you know, needs to be changed, is that something you guys
We
could do?
can't now, we lost our watchmaker, he passed away.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was not good. 56 years old, he had a stroke,
Oh, no.
major stroke, he died.
Wow, did he have any preliminary diagnosis?
No sign.
But I mean, did he have health, underlying health
No.
issues?
Never had any problem. He had a stroke working on some watches.
Okay. Can I see the cigar band while we're here?
And he never went home.
Jeez Louise, so he's still here.
We've done some like that in gold that are a little bit thicker.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah.
kinda too thin.
No, I'm just trying to look at potentially what it would be. Yeah. So. 3, 4, 5, 6.
Or we can design something else that's similar,
Mm-hmm.
to, according to your stone sizes, you know.
If I'm not wearing my watches very often, like this one, for some reason, I don't know. I gotta be in the mood to wear it. How often does it need to be cleaned, or what do I need to do to like keep it from getting all?
Oh, corroded, don't put it in like an enclosed damp room. Or not in the bathroom.
Yeah. It. Who knows where that one was?
Yeah.
It
You know,
could've been
people-
anywhere.
People that live here say, oh no, I don't keep it around moisture, and I open it,
You
it's
live it.
totally corroded, and it's moisture here all the time.
Right. That's what I'm saying. You're living in a moist area.
Exactly. I need you to put your pin in, please. There's the keypad.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm sorry you had trouble getting here. Going home is easier. You know, you can just jump right on the freeway right down here.
Take a right and get on.
Yeah, it's the only way to go. I mean, they're stuck actually to go on the freeway.
Okay.
You turn right at the signal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Claudia. Thank you for your help.
Well, thank you. Enjoy your earrings.
Like I said, I have about 4 orphans, so It'll be nice to. And I for just doing whatever, I like to. My go-to is wearing a hoop.
Okay, so, just to say, I was thinking of this, if we end up making a ring for you,
Mhm.
we can take the, half earrings or broken chains and give you the scrap gold credit towards the job.
I have a lot of that.
Yeah.
So, okay, that would be great.
Sometimes we can use some of the gold for the piece too,
Mhm.
it just depends on
Okay.
what
I'm
it,
just trying to
so-
think as far as my mom's stuff.
yeah, exactly. So even, are they in rings now? We can, or the diamonds loose?
Most of them are loose.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, anyway, you have other things,
Oh yeah, I do.
so keep
Yeah.
that in mind, it'll help
Yeah.
with the cost and your husband will be happy.
Well, you might not know.
Okay, thanks, bye-bye.
Things like, I just ruined everything and I acted so stupid. That's not beneficial for us and our bodies. That's shame. So instead, no, these parts of ourselves come out because they're just trying to protect the broken parts of ourselves from childhood. So it's really just going within your body, being okay with all of the feelings and emotions that you have, and talking to that part of yourself and asking, like, what do you need, right? So the next time that you guys feel like, I don't know, maybe your partner is coming at you and crazy and you're like, oh, I can't believe this person again is coming at me. Just take a breath, go in and say, hey, this defensive part of me is forward right now. How can I serve this part? What does this part need? And if you can sink into a very relaxed state, the intuition hit you'll get will be the answer of what that part of yourself needs. This is really, really, really effective. I mean, I have done this for years, and you will be surprised of how much like old trauma doesn't show up anymore. Really powerful. Okay, trauma release exercise, another one of my favorites. So Dr. David Berceli, he's a doctor that I worked with a lot back in the day. He was fighting a war, and he was in a bomb shelter, and he was looking around at the people in this bomb shelter, and he was hearing the bombs get closer and closer. So he was watching what was happening in this shelter, and right across from him, he saw a mother and her 2 children sitting on her lap. And as the bombs got closer and closer and louder, you could see these children, and they're literally shaking, like they're shaking violently. They're scared. They're like, oh, you know, but then he's looking around the bomb shelter at all the adults, and all the adults are very calm. They're not shaking. So that sparked something in him. So he went into research and realized that animals in the wild do not have PTSD, because if a zebra is getting chased by a lion and that lion bites a chunk out of that zebra's butt, that zebra will fall onto the ground, will shake violently, and then get back up and start grazing like nothing ever happened. So they release the trauma of the incident, ground themselves out of that energy, right? And then they will get up like nothing happened. So us as mammals, we're supposed to do the same thing. We're just, if we started shaking, like, I'm scared, and I was like, oh, I'm so scared, everybody would judge me, right? So we lock ourselves into this, oh, no, I'm good, totally fine. We lock, and we don't let ourselves and allow what the body's natural response is trying to do, to shake. So trauma release exercise. And they found so much benefit for this. I mean, he works with Army vets, with PTSD. If you have locked, stored trauma in your body, this is one of the best ways to release it. So basically, you do these different exercises to exhaust your psoas muscle, which tightens every time you go into fight or flight. And then you go into these different positions, and your body will start trembling. It's really incredible. Quick story, this guy, this one right here. So he was in war, and I guess him and his team, they got blown up. And he was inside, after they got blown up, he couldn't breathe, and he was breathing in all of the dust and everything from the attack. All of his people, they died. He was the only one that survived. So when he started doing trauma release, after he started releasing, this video is online, like you could see his body kind of convulsing up, right? And then all of a sudden he starts to cough, and he's coughing and he's coughing. And then you'll see black stuff. He's coughing up black stuff out of his mouth because the old stuff from when he got bombed was deep, like it was still in his body. So the trauma release, like released it and allowed him to finally cough that stuff out of his system. Very, very powerful. Our bodies hold on to everything. We might not realize it, but that's why we get triggered, because it lives in our body. Our body makes our mind react because we feel triggered, right? Neurofeedback. I would suggest everybody and anybody to do neurofeedback in their lives. If you guys have not experienced this, this is what changed my life at age 19. So neurofeedback is basically like putting a mirror up to your brain. If you're not aware that you have an issue, then you can't fix it. So if you're putting a mirror up to your brain as you're doing neurofeedback, your brain is seeing where it can fix itself in real time. So I do a couple different types of neurofeedback. This is actually at Dave Asprey's 40 Years of Zen. This is a different system, but I have a system called Neuro-Optimal, which is a very, very easy type of brain training that anyone can do. It's 33 minutes of music. You listen, you put headphones on, you have electrodes on your head, and you hear skips, pauses, and interrupts. And that is basically your brain fixing itself in real time. I mean, I call this like a brain dump. I mean, if I told everybody to silence their minds, like, can you do it? Like, who can do it? Can you silence your mind? You can? Okay. Can you guys silence your minds? You can. Okay, so you guys are pretty advanced. All right. Well, it took me a while to be able to silence my mind if I was just like, stop. But now I can do it because I've done so much neurofeedback, and I think that that's why, because it's literally taking all the unnecessary out. A brain dump. All right, so this is Gabriel again. He's my son, by the way. He's 13 now. He's not the little, you know, he's a little grown now, but brain tap. So this is an awesome, awesome modality. Dr. Patrick Porter, a good friend of mine, basically you use sound and light, and it puts you into a meditative state. This is really great for people who have problems meditating, like me. I'm very high strung, you know, I just want to get it done, like I'm trying to get a benefit and go. This will drop you into a meditative state like that. And then for your ears, your blood will pump through your ears every second. So there's lights that flash inside of the ears as well. So you're getting the photons of light that are circulating through your body, flashing lights, that the lights hitting your retina, and you're hearing binaural beats, meditations. I'm actually on this app as well. And this is incredibly powerful for rewiring, for calming yourself down, and for getting that meditation that, you know, done quicker, so you don't have to sit there for an hour and try. I bring this everywhere I go in the world with me because it completely ixnays jet lag. So, and if I'm ever tired during the day, I'll be like, all right, hold on, I need 20 minutes, and I'll go do a session, and my brain turns back on because it's literally helping your brain create the ATP, and it's helping your mitochondria so that you can wake back up. Very, very powerful. Hyperbaric oxygen, also really incredible. So after I saw Dr. Daniel Amen, he was like, okay, I'm gonna write you a script for a hyperbaric oxygen chamber because you have like blood flow issues in your brain. I was like, perfect, okay. So got a hyperbaric, and incredible. This, everybody should know about hyperbaric oxygen. It really upsets me that these type of things are not talked about and not more promoted, because this right here, I'll tell you a story. So there's a facility a couple miles away from my house, and there was a woman, stage 4 cancer, bad shape, and she was out of options. So went there, and they were like, you know, try the hyperbaric. So she started doing the hyperbaric oxygen chamber for 3 hours daily. And I think she did like 5 sessions a week, couple weeks. Do you know that her cancer, gone now. She's okay now. I mean, oxygen, it is impossible for, in a highly oxygenated body, for cells to start acting funky, right? So, pretty incredible. And also, so this is high pressure oxygen in like a little spaceship like bubble thing. And it's pumping oxygen into your brain. So that's why Dr. Daniel Amen uses this as a prescription for people that are like have tons of head injuries, etc. So it pumps the oxygen into your brain, floods your brain with oxygen. And now, guys, after doing this for about 3 years, I'm happy to say that I'm not as impulsive anymore. I can stop myself instead of like, yes, I'll do it. Yes, yes, buy that. There's a moment, I have that space between the stimulus and response. So I think that the hyperbaric probably helped out with that. And Dr. Artis talked all about the lymph, very, very important lymphatic work, okay? So yes, you were saying that blood pumps through your heart. Lymph, you have to be moving for your lymph to move. So if you're feeling very stagnant in life, very stuck, if you're sore, if you're feeling like draggy and heavy, then you might have a lymph problem. And it's lymphatic work. You can get lymphatic massage, but self-massage is what I do. So basically, your left duct of your lymph is right here, and it sits right like underneath your collarbone. So this drains 75% of your body on the left side. So like this drains left side, and your lower extremities. The right side drains this quarter of your body, the right. So I always start on the left, and I just kind of work my lymph and kind of push down inside of my collarbones. And if you feel puffy, or if you feel like a little bit of pain there, you could be very inflamed. So I just like very light touch, because the lymph, it sits right underneath the skin. So you only need like a nickel, like putting a nickel on your skin, that amount of pressure, because you don't want to cause more inflammation. Now I'll just go onto my other side, and I'll clear my right side. And then kind of, bring the lymph down my neck, on my other side. So, you can do your own lymphatic work. If I'm ever feeling a little stagnant in public, I'll just sit there and you'll see me. A lot of people that have followed me for a while will see me just start messing with my collarbone, because I'm always trying to make sure I'm good and my lymph is moving. Because your lymph, once I started doing lymphatic work, let me just tell you, the first time I got a lymphatic massage, afterwards, I was calling everybody on my phone. Like, I love you. You're just the most amazing. I just love you guys. Oh my God, I just thought I should tell you how much I love you. Because it brings you into this different state, like euphoric state, because finally now everything is moving and flowing in your body in the way it's supposed to. I always looked like I was in shape, but my lymph I never moved my lymph. So, after I got that session, I was like, I'm gonna do this forever. Very powerful. And red light therapy. I love red light therapy. So I've been doing red light therapy now for probably like over a decade. And I basically will meditate in front of my red light therapy. And there's so many different benefits to red light therapy. For me, I've kind of trained my body to know that once I'm sitting in front of my red light, it's time for me to meditate, to calm down, to journal. So I'll kind of go into that space automatically. So you can kind of move it into, morning routine and evening routine. But what red light therapy does is it increases the ATP. It helps the ATP in your system, which is basically the energy for your cells. So it helps your mitochondria. And ATP, if you don't have enough cellular energy, then your body is not going to be functioning properly. So red light therapy is incredibly powerful for that. And then on top of that, it also helps with fine lines. It helps with wound healing, cellular repair, so many different things. So I love it. And then finally, meditation. I think this is the most important thing that anyone can do, other than clear their body of parasites. We are so sped up in life. We don't ever get a chance, especially in America, we don't ever get a chance to stop and slow down. And because society has trained us that it's go, 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 I'll sleep when I die, this is so toxic and opposite of what we are here to do. My whole life, I was just go, 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 go. It was nonstop. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing so awesome. I'm such a good person. I'm helping them, and I'm helping them, and I'm building this, and I'm doing this. But I burnt out. I literally burnt out. Physically, mentally, my hormones went crazy. When you burn out, you feel flat. You just feel like there's no purpose, nothing. And at that point, you don't have anything left to give anybody. So what I've learned, especially in this past year, give yourself the time and space for you. And meditation, we all have 5 minutes a day. to give ourselves that moment of peace and quiet to talk to God and let God talk to us. And that will increase everything in your life. Once you start being selfish with your time, once you start giving back to yourself. I mean, a couple years ago, I thought I was just the most honorable person because I'm doing everything for everybody else all the time. And I'm like, oh, I'm just the best person ever. But I found out that by being selfish this past year, I am able to give so much more to everybody. I'm not burnt out, I'm not tired. I'm overflowing with love because I'm pouring my love cup up first instead of pouring from empty because I'm pouring into everybody else's cup before mine. So, meditation, give your guys, time just to talk to God and let God talk to you every single day, even during a meal. I mean, how many of us eat a meal and we have the phone and we're working or we're standing up because we got to hurry and eat and get back to work? Don't do that. Because even when you eat like that, your body, your nervous system is turned on, you're in fight or flight, and you're not going to digest your food as well if your body is in a stressed state while you're eating. That's why we need to be sitting down, enjoying our food, being present with our food. If we're not thinking about what we're about to digest, then our stomachs are not even going to produce the right things to break down the food. So it's really important. Give your guys, that meal. Give your guys just the moments of time to just relax and pour back into yourselves, because this life is crazy, okay? I mean, I just saw a freaking worm getting pulled out of someone's eye. So, yeah, it was just a lot. If you guys want to stay in touch with me, I have a podcast. I coach. I have 4-day transformations. I can transform you in less than 100 hours. I really can, with all these different modalities. And there I am. And yes, here we go, guys. And this is for you guys. If you want to join any of our other events, we are giving, and that goes for you guys online too. We are giving you guys a 50% off code. Use code LOYALTY50, because Dr. Artis and I will not be talking about the same things at these cities. We will be talking about in Vegas. What are we talking about in Vegas? Big Pharma.
Big Pharma scams.
Yeah.
Is the entire topic.
Yes.
In Vegas.
Yes, Big Pharma. And then we'll be in Miami. We'll be talking about venom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and toxins, and, I can't wait for the venom conversation.
Yep. Yeah, me too. I can't wait to see what I learn.
Really. So guys, that was just a couple modalities for you guys. I just wanted to run through that very quickly because these are some things that have really, really benefited my life. I mean, I used to be really crazy. I was not a teacher, I was just a person that was trying to do life crazy. And so, I've had a lot of experiences. I've had a lot of these in my life, like crash and burn, and literally lost everything, but yet built back up to like awesomeness, and then boom again, crash and burn, and then built back up to awesomeness. And literally this just happened to me a year ago. I lost everything and I have built back up since. But that is because, this time I knew the tools, I knew what to do, and it's these type of modalities that can help give you the space between stimulus and response, so you can make an intentional, conscious action. So you are driving your life, and you're not letting others drive your life. You're living your own life. Because if you don't have any space between stimulus and response, then you're just reacting. You're not living a conscious life. You're being drawn and led by everybody else but yourself. So that's what these tools do. They give you space between stimulus and response to have an intentional, conscious life. So yeah. Thank you. Thank you guys, thank you. So now it's time for the long-awaited Q&A.
Before we go into that, I'm going to share a few things about what you just presented. So we'll start with the last thing. So red light therapy, or not, meditation was the last thing, but red light therapy right before that. So that's one thing we've been educating people on for the last 3 years. I have through our Healing for the Ages conference. If you guys haven't been watching that or participating in that, there's a few companies. So, but one particularly that's in our home right now is Sauna Space. You go to sauna.space. That is a red light sauna that I carry in our home. And even this week, I've done 2 sessions in that.
Phenomenal.
Love that thing. Okay, so red light therapy is very essential, but to start learning about red light therapy and how beneficial it is, John Harvey Kellogg, who's the brother of the Kellogg cereal company, John Harvey Kellogg in 1905 wrote a book, and it's called Light Therapeutics. You can still find it online. In the 1880s, 90s, and then in 1905, he'd already proven that he could cure lupus. It's published in 1905. I could cure lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, and destroy snake venom in a snake bite victim's body by just exposing them to red light therapy for 10 to 12 minutes.
Wow.
That's how powerful red light is. And red light, the frequencies of red light, was invented by John Harvey Kellogg. So John Harvey Kellogg developed that in the 1880s, 1890s, and then in the early 1900s. If you want to learn about red light therapy and how specifically powerful and healing it is, Light Therapeutics, 1905, John Harvey Kellogg. And then also, this is why, if you've ever been outside, you will hear that the best time to be in the sun is early morning when the sun's rising and at dusk when the sun's going down. And you will notice there's red hues in the sky. As the angles of the light coming from the sun go through the atmosphere, that is the red light frequency, period. So if you're wanting to get access to vitamin D and sunlight, the best periods are early morning and in the evening when red light exposure is the highest. It's the lowest at midday, which is why you all get sunburned like me. If you're really Caucasian like me, Danish and Irish like me, I'm burning in like 5 seconds. So in the midday sun. So red light therapy is really cool and really, really beneficial. It's something me and my family take advantage of in our home every single week. And then she brought up lymphatic massage and doing her clavicle, just sitting there rubbing like this, which I thought was awesome. Outside of seminars I've been in and participated in 30 years now as an adult, it's the only time I ever see that is when I would go to these lectures on lymphatic massages or muscle testing or applied kinesiology. Eventually somebody would get to this lymphatic massage tool, and I will tell you how useful this is. She was just showing that light pressure underneath your clavicle, especially on your left side. You have these two lymphatic pools, left and right, and there have been periods where Jane and I have been on a flight, and Jane will have like a sinus block, where it's just extreme pain in the sinus of her face, eyes, ear, and literally where she thinks her head's going to explode. And all I will do is just lean over and start massaging her clavicle. And within a minute or two, all of that will relief, and she can make it through the whole flight. And I'll just reach over and do it. My son, Braden, who is not here, he's a redhead, looks a lot like me, but he's actually taught at Healing for the Ages. And we were on a flight 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, and his eyes, he had some kind of sinus pressure from something, but his eyes, he was terrified. He actually thought in the middle of the plane his eyes were going to pop out of his skull. There was so much pressure behind his eyes, and he was genuinely terrified. And it sucked. We were in two different parts of the plane. Kids were in the back. We were a little bit closer to the front. And so he was scared, texting me, and I had to go back there and sit with him. And that's what I started doing, was massaging these two clavicles, and it relieved all the pressure. But he thought for sure he was going to go blind, and his eyes were physically coming out of his head from that pressure. So the idea of being able to just massage real lightly underneath the clavicle has paid massive dividends, just learning that quick, easy tool when I was younger, and I've known that for a long time. So it's very cool. You've seen the benefit of that.
That's good. You can do it 5 minutes in the morning when you're getting ready. It's very, very simple. Just rub lightly, one side and the other side, and that will help you get your day started. Very simple.
Yep. And then when she talked about EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, and you can tap certain acupuncture points, which are along meridians, she mentioned, meridian points. And that was a tool I actually used to get myself out of a 11-month depression.
Wow.
That I didn't even leave the house for 11 months.
Wow.
In 2008 and 9. I had gotten the impression to sell my practice in Tennessee and move to Texas, and I did. Anytime I get impressions, by God, I will follow them, but I don't like them all. I didn't want to go to Nineveh either. You know, remember that story? Get your butt to Nineveh. I don't think so. Well, here comes a whale. I'll just swallow you whole until you decide you're going to go to Nineveh. This is me. Get to Dallas, and I did not want to go to Dallas. I was pissed. I did not want to go to Dallas. But I did. I put my house on the market the next day. It sold within 24 hours. I did move 2 weeks later. So I followed the promptings, but man, I was depressed out of my mind. For 11 months, I didn't leave my house. Didn't practice in 2009. And literally, had spent almost every dime I'd made off my clinic sale, house sale in Tennessee, just depressed, and people trying to figure out, family members trying to figure out how to make me happy, taking me on trips and buying me stuff. Here, go buy a boat, go to wherever on vacation. Nothing mattered. I just could not get out of this funk. And I was down to literally enough money to be in my house for 2 weeks. And in 2009, I just could not figure out what's wrong with me. And anyway, I flew up to Seattle to go see a friend of mine who taught me how to do muscle testing. And I went to her clinic. And I walked in and I said, she looked at me and she goes, "Well, you're not the same Dr. Ardis I knew 10 years ago." I said, I don't feel like the same Dr. Artis I was 10 years ago. And when she said that, I just started bawling, crying, uncontrollably. I could not stop crying for like an hour. I'm just sobbing. And she takes me back into this treatment room because I'm a big class clown and like to make fun of life and everything. I like to make fun of everything, actually. And she takes me in this room, lays me down, and she says, well, in the last 10 years, I've learned something that I didn't teach you 10 years ago. That not everything is fixed with a pill, whether it's minerals, vitamins, herbs, drugs. Not everything is fixed with a pill, but that was the class I went through. Was there's herbs, mineral vitamins you can cure people of. She goes, I've learned that there are emotional traumas that we can carry as burdens that can resurface at any point in your life and can literally control your whole life. Yeah. So if you'll lay down, I'd like to see if there's something that's occurred in your past that's literally triggered you to have this depressed period for the last year. And what came out of this assessment was she's doing muscle testing on me and figures out that in my subconscious, she told me, she goes, something happened to you in 6th grade and it surrounds losing money. And that has been re-triggered, come to the surface of reality to your conscious mind in the last year, and you can't get over it. And that's, so she looks at me and she's like, so what happened to you a year ago? And I said, or what happened to you in your 6th grade? And I was so out of my mind with depression, like so depressed, with a brain fog, I literally couldn't hear what she said. And this is exactly what my response was. She said, what happened to you when you were in 6th grade? Not a joke. I looked at her like this. I don't know. What grade was I in? And she goes, I said 6th grade. And I said, well, what grade was I in 6th grade? This is what I said.
Wow.
And she goes, Dr. Artis, I need you to focus. In 6th grade, you would have been about 11 or 12 years old. So in that time frame, what happened to you around money? And I said, well, I didn't lose my lemonade stand. This is what I said. I didn't lose my lemonade stand when I was 12. I didn't actually have a lemonade stand. I was just being sarcastic. And she goes, stop being sarcastic. I need you to sit and think. Something happened to you that was triggered because of a deficiency or loss in money. And something has triggered that again a year ago, and it has paralyzed you to be able to act normal in life. And I'm laying there, and I'm like, 12? What in the world happened when I was 12? I didn't have a job when I was 12. I didn't work for Kathy Lee Gifford's clothing company when I was 12. Yeah, I didn't do it. But I looked at her and I said, well, I'm the oldest of 5 kids, and I know my dad filed bankruptcy when I was 12, and none of the other kids know it. And then she muscle tested, and she goes, oh my God, how did you know that was it? And how did you know your dad filed bankruptcy? And I said, because I heard my parents fighting in the living room, and I came out of my bedroom to go see what they were fighting about, and I thought they were going to get a divorce. And I hear my dad talking about how he has no money for the new company he just started. His business partner stole it all. All the leases of his landscaping tractors and all of the stuff for his company were in his name, and now he's filed bankruptcy and lost everything. And she goes, okay, I just want to find out if that's what the event was. Yes, it is. Okay, great. So then she had to figure out what I, as a 12-year-old, had decided as I watched my parents argue about a bankruptcy, and then watched my parents' marriage, like, not dissolve, but was just on the rocks. A lot of fighting, a lot of bickering. And then out of this scenario, I, as a 12-year-old, watching my dad, who I idolized at the time, recognizing he didn't manage his finances well in business and went bankrupt, and now this huge threat on my family, can't feed your family, how's your family, whatever. I, as a 12-year-old watching this, had told myself something when I was 12, that if this can happen to my dad, one day it's going to happen to me. And when I sold my practice, literally took the check from selling my practice. I never had more money in my life. My parents have never had that much money. So when I sold my practice, took the check. In that moment when I walked out the door, I no longer had a job. And this triggered this belief that, yes, you too one day will go bankrupt, and you just set up your life, Brian Artis, to go bankrupt by giving up your job that was providing this amazing livelihood for your family. You literally sold your practice, had no job, and here came the fear you told yourself was going to happen one day. You will go bankrupt just like your dad one day. Your family will be threatened with no revenue, no food, no housing, no nothing, just like you were a kid. And I had told myself that was going to happen, and then I believed it was happening, but I did
Good
not
afternoon.
remember
Good to
this was
do
the
it.
issue and had no idea. From this assessment in Seattle, Washington, having this done, she taught me about EFT and how to
Nobody
use
there.
emotional freedom technique to tap
Naya,
certain
Naya.
acupuncture points and then replace
Yeah.
with affirmations these positive phrases to replace the belief I was going to go bankrupt. Because actually what I told myself was, at 12, I, Brian Artis, will go bankrupt just like my dad one day. That's what I said. And my mind has continually replayed that.
Yep.
And literally just self-sabotaged myself and just
Yep.
sat at home for a year not figuring out what was wrong with me. And literally it was 2 weeks from being bankrupt financially. I literally came home, did EFT work for 5 days. On the 5th day, doing these tapping and these affirmations, which I thought were ridiculous at the time. Like, this is so dumb. I'm tapping. This is moronic and dumb. Just so y'all know, everything I learned in life about alternative medicine is not cool. In the beginning, I'm like, you guys are freaking weird. All right. Weirdos. That's weird. This was weird to me. On day 5, for some reason, I'm still sitting there. Every time I say these affirmations and I'm tapping these acupuncture points, I'm literally telling myself this is so dumb. And all of a sudden, on day 5, I'm doing it all day long and all night, all day and all night. I'm sitting in this recliner in my living room doing it. And all of a sudden, I'm doing the tapping. I'm tapping these 2 acupuncture points like this. And I go to tap like this, and tap like this. And all of a sudden, I had this little piece of paper with the affirmations on it. I sat it to my right off the recliner, and I went like this. I'm sitting there looking in the living room. I look out the window, and I'm like, what am I doing sitting in this chair? This is not a joke. This is in Frisco, at a house in Frisco. And I'm like, what am I doing here? I put the paper down. I got up, went and got in my car, drove down to Main Street in Frisco and knocked on every door of every business and introduced myself to every owner, manager, and then told them in 2 weeks I'm going to open up a clinic right behind you. Anybody that comes in here complaining about headaches, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis, high blood pressure, I don't care what they have. I can fix you. Just tell them to come back here to this office back here. I'll take care of employees. I'll give you 10% off if you want to come in. I don't care. I went and met everybody. Then I walked over to the Chamber of Commerce in Frisco and said, what does it cost to actually go do a presentation to all business owners in Frisco? And the lady looks at me, the head of the Chamber of Commerce, and goes, it's $500 to pay $500 up front to provide a breakfast, and then you can talk for 5 minutes to the Chamber of Commerce. 5 minutes for $500. I just told y'all, I was down to my 2 weeks worth of money, and I was like, great, here's my $500. I will be bringing breakfast. And I did. And when I came, there was 95 people in there. And in 5 minutes, I showed one slide, 5 questions I put on the screen. And I went through all 5 questions. And in 5 minutes, I had in the back of the room, this is what I told everybody at the Chamber of Commerce. You were not allowed to be a patient of mine. This is what I said. Y'all are all here every Thursday at the Chamber of Commerce once a month because I know you don't have any money and you're trying to drive business. You're all business owners here networking, trying to make money. I know you don't have money. I am not here to sell you to be my patient. However, what I'm about to present to you in these 5 questions, you're going to know somebody who suffers with those conditions and they have jobs and they can afford to come see me. You're going to go put their name down on that piece of paper and their phone number, and I'm going to call them. Remember, none of you are allowed to be my patients, or you would not be here at 6 a.m. every Thursday. Anyway, in 5 minutes, I had 96 new patients. 96 new patients. 96 that included a few people in the room that I was okay with. Everybody else was relatives or families or friends. 2 weeks later, I opened up that practice. Within 1 month, I had 250 patients in my practice, and it just took off, just like it did in Tennessee. But this was the power of doing emotional release work, and I have had to do a ton of work on myself to understand how does the psyche work, how does it operate, because I have learned very recently, on top of everything I've done for the last 30 years to unwind all this crap that I've had to deal with, and all of us have it. All of you have. You don't just have physical parasites in your body, you have emotional parasites that are literally running your life.
Yes.
And any part of your life that you're like, man, this just keeps happening to me. Why does the same scenario happen all the time? Yeah, it's because you're unconscious.
Yeah.
What you have not acknowledged, the repressed things that have occurred to you that you keep suppressing and swallowing into your brain. I don't want to confront that. I don't want to look at it. That's ugly. I don't want to be reminded of that. I don't want to look at it. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists of our lifetimes, has continued to say, what you repress and you do not acknowledge or confront, it will rule your life and you will call it fate.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You will say, it's just the way life occurs for me. You're right. As long as you keep ignoring what you suppress since you were a child, typically, it will continue to rule your life. And this depression period where I just couldn't function at all. Nobody could make me happy, make me laugh. It didn't matter. Everybody was worried about me. It wasn't until I learned there was something that happened to me when I was young, buried in my subconscious, that was brought to the surface unbeknownst to me. And that's why some of these technologies, modalities are very helpful. You don't even know what it is. I didn't know what it was. I'd have somebody tell me what it was and use a technique to help me do it.
You don't remember what happens to you in your past, but it always is resurfacing through triggers in your life. So the minute that you're triggered, I always get excited about that because I'm like, what is going on within me that I can trace the root to try to see where it stems from, to reprocess that moment, because your trauma will run you, just like it was out of nowhere. But if something triggers you in your life, boom, you're triggered. You could get pulled into a state of complete panic, depression, and just shut down. And that is if you don't work through your unresolved trauma. I mean, that's what my work focuses on. I mean, I know there's tons of health stuff, but I really feel like the mind, you're always tensing. You know, if you're stressed out, your shoulders are up, your neck is, you know, you're always tensing. So what does that create? I mean, tension in the body, you're tightening your muscles, inflammation over time if you keep tensing that area. So that's going to eventually turn into a physical ailment. I mean, I think it's the root, most important thing that we all need to do is kind of address these things, because it will run our lives. I mean, how many people have dated the same narcissist in a different skin suit, like many times in life? I mean, hello. Like, it'll keep happening until you learn your lesson, until you figure out, oh, well, you know, familiar pain you'll always attract and go for familiar pain rather than unfamiliar gain every single time. So you have to retrain yourself why you keep going for that familiar pain and go into, oh, well, maybe it's because of this. Let me, you know, choose different this time, but you have to become aware. So
yeah, a couple stories I think will help advance this topic or knowledge or awareness forward to make it more real. This is how real it gets, okay? I had a patient one time that came in who had a food addiction. Always thought about food 24/7, could not stop thinking about food. For years, I've been through therapy, rehab, all kinds of stuff. She comes into my office, lays down, I do my assessment. She actually has inherited emotions from a great-grandfather during the Depression who couldn't feed their family and was hiding money in the walls of the house so people couldn't break in and steal it, because he was always worried there wasn't enough food to feed his children.
wow.
She inherited the fear and anxiety and panic from her great-grandfather, passed down to her children, his children, to their children, to her, and had nothing to do with her. All I had to do was release the emotions. She immediately started losing weight, stopped thinking about food all day long, stopped eating all day from day one, but had no idea. And I just happened to learn this technique to help me assess this stuff, similar to the lady in Washington. And let's see, there was another one I wanted to give, which is very, very powerful. Oh, here you go. Another example of the power of emotions as I have learned it. Okay? Because everybody who struggles in life in America will be told they need an antidepressant or a barbiturate drug, some kind of antipsychotic. You're just deficient in a drug. You're just deficient in Prozac, Zoloft, Xanax, something. No, you're not. Okay. I had a lady one time come into my office. She's like, I'm not sure you can really help me, but I have a lot of friends that have come to see you here in Dallas, and they tell me I need to come see you. Okay, great. What's your problem? I can't be with a man. And I said, what do you mean you can't be with a man? You can't date a man? No, I can't let a man touch me. I also can't let my kids touch me. Nobody can touch me. Why? What happens? I freak out and I panic. If they just touch you, yeah. No one can hug me. No one put their arm around me. Whatever. Okay, great. Have you ever been married? Yes. Do you have children? Yes. Well, at least somebody had to touch you at some point. If you have kids and you've been married, I doubt somebody's married you don't let you touch them. Okay. Yes, I've been married. I have 3 children. Those children were in their teenage years when something happened all of a sudden in one day. All of a sudden, these memories she had never recalled as an adult or teenager she could remember, all of a sudden came flying up to her awareness out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And ever since that moment of memory, this vision that popped in and this remembrance of something that happened to her when she was a kid, from that moment, she wouldn't let her husband touch her, wouldn't let her kids touch her. They tried to greet her when he came home from work, from school, and she would push them away. Do not touch me. Get away from me. She had been for 17 years in and out of, I didn't even know they had these sex rehab clinics where to be okay with sex and touch and kiss and holding hands, she had to go through all of these. They thought there was some sexual trauma thing she had to get over and No one ever got to the root of it. She was in and out of 7 or 8 of these, never been able to date again. She's in her 50s, blah, blah. So I said, well, why don't you just lay down, I'll do my exam on you and see if I can come up with anything. And I always look for 10 root causes for anybody's symptoms, and one of those were trapped emotions. And in her case, there was nothing physical, no parasites, no toxins. It was emotions. So then I had to find out, well, what does she got buried in her subconscious she is unaware of? So doing these types of techniques as the practitioner, it's stressful, because what you're about to define and figure out, they don't even know they have. And when it comes to the surface, they get real upset, they get real charged, or they start bawling, crying, and their sadness, grief, loss, panic gets on you. And if you're an empath of any kind where you care about other people, you take on their emotions, and it sucks. So I had to do a lot of getting rid of my own stuff, taking on from other people. So I'm going to just tell this story, and because I never had another story like it, but this is the power of trauma that you don't deal with. So this lady's whole adult life has been ruined, no relationships. She's been divorced from her husband for like 15 years, has no relationship with her kids, and cannot date. Totally alone, totally single. Okay. I have her lay on the table, figure out that it's emotional, and then I go through the whole thing, and I said, now, I just want you to know, I've already figured out at what age you were when this happened to you. And she said, what age was it? I said, you were 5 years old. And she said, okay. Now, she didn't know where this came from. She goes, okay. I said, okay, you're 5 years old, and it was a male. This male was not related to you, but was a neighbor of yours when you were 5 years old. And she looks at me and she goes, how would you know that? And I said, actually, it was a neighbor right across the street from you, some single guy. So the trapped emotions you're carrying are billions. I mean, billions. I actually have to count out how many times this happened before I can release it all from their subconscious. I said, this has happened to you 100 billion times. You've replayed terror, panic, fear from this thing that happened when you were 5. She's like, okay. I said, now I'm going to release all these emotions because I can, but sometimes I have to ask the person for more details of the event. I don't even want to know what details to this event exist. Do not tell me I'm going to feel horrible for days. Don't tell me, because I've never seen these kind of volumes of numbers of trauma. Anyway, I released all the traumas from her. Just takes a few seconds. Treating acupuncture points with magnets and other stuff. I said, good, those trapped emotions are gone. You just need to be aware that when I release these emotions of that volume, you might have seizures, you might have tremors, you might have physical reactions because your fascia had this all stored inside you, and you might have weird symptoms. Just call me if those come up. So she stands up, and when I tell her the significance of the trauma, and she can tell it's bothering me, the volume of terror, fear, panic, and she goes, Dr. Ursa, I just want you to know what happened to me at 5 years old, but I'm not really sure what I'm about to say to you is the problem, because I've already dealt with sex therapists about this thing. I've brought it up to them, and I thought this might have a part to do with it, but it keeps coming up. It doesn't have anything to do with it. And I said, I don't want to know what happened to you. I mean, truly, I don't. I said, so we can just go out. And she goes, no, I feel like it's my job as a part of my healing to tell you. Like, I got to get it off of me. Okay. Fine, then go ahead and tell me. She's like, I went outside with my friends. We're running around the neighborhood, and we're all playing hide and go seek. And everybody's friends with everybody in this period in the 70s. Everybody's just hanging out. Everybody loves each other, trusts each other. This is before serial killers, I guess, like Ted Bundy and everybody were made known in the 70s. So they're all wandering around, running around, and this single guy across the street just comes out the door. They're all family friends with everybody in the neighborhood. Everybody knows this guy, and he goes, hey, little girl, come inside. So she's running, chasing, doing hide and seek, and he says, hey, come inside. And she runs inside because she knows him. It's just the neighbor. Runs inside, and this man pulls out a gun. After she shuts the door, pulls out a gun and forces her to have oral sex with his German Shepherd while holding the gun to her head. And then said, you will do this, and if you tell anyone that I did this, I will kill your parents first, your brother next, and then you. And then said, you will do this to completion, and then rolled the gun on top of this 5-year-old girl's head and then fired it into the floor. And the firing of the gun into the floor is where all the terror, trauma, fear, and the billions of this subconsciously kept getting replayed without her conscious awareness. This is how crazy the mind works, okay? What she never could understand was what triggered this thing to be remembered all of a sudden. This is what the therapist can never help her with, never could help define that this issue of not letting men touch you or kids touch you, this touch issue doesn't really come from this issue that happened when you were 5. They can never figure out how that was connected. Well, I figured it out in 2 seconds. All I did was do the muscle testing. She actually saw a German Shepherd that looked just like the one she was forced to do that on at 5 years old, just in passing at a park. And as soon as she saw the dog,
Wow.
her subconscious did not forget that dog. And the moment she saw it, the color scheme or whatever of the dog, as soon as it hit there, all of it came flooding back and ruined her life. I just want everybody to know, I did 2 emotional release sessions on her within a 1-week period. 6 months later, she came to my office. The next time I saw her was to invite me to her wedding.
Wow.
So she had actually gotten over it, was able to start dating within 1 week of coming in to do the therapy, and found a new love of her life, and life was incredible. So this is the power of emotions and what I've learned over time. It's there are very physical issues that create trauma, and then there are very deep-seated emotional traumas that some of us bury, forget, block out of protection for our own psyche and life.
Yeah.
But they've literally run your life. And she happened to just say a few words. You got to be comfortable with the uncomfortable parts of your psyche, right? If someone says something and you're triggered by it, you need to acknowledge that this is a part of you. This is a normal part of your existence. And you just need to get quiet and address it, or else it's going to keep showing up until you acknowledge that, yes, you were hurt, kid. Yes, this happened to you, kid. And what is it that you need to be healed? Like, what is it? And you just need to visit with yourself and hang out with yourself.
Yeah.
Where Carl Jung says, if you don't make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. I mean, if there's a pattern in your life that keeps showing up, you are being run by your unconscious.
Yes.
And if you are having self-sabotage showing up in your life, your own mind's doing it.
Yep.
And you are not brave enough to sit quietly and acknowledge that this is a part of your life and has been a part of your life. And you just need to address it. You just need to visit with yourself and be comfortable in the quiet silence.
Yes.
Give yourself 5 minutes. Hang
Give
out in a
yourself
floating
5
tank.
minutes. Yeah. Yeah.
Notice she had her shoes on in the tank. I was like, that's weird. She should have taken her shoes off.
There was no water in it. It was brand new.
I was like, you're not floating. You got your clothes on with a pair of shoes on. That's weird.
Funny story. You were talking about fascia. So I worked with the Human Garage, Gary. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Human Garage, but I got my tongue pulled. So there's like this super viral video. He pulls my tongue. I got my tongue pulled in Bali. And I had the biggest emotional release that I've ever had in my life. And it was so embarrassing because we were in the lobby of this hotel. We had just got done speaking. It was like the last day of the summit. And he was just like, okay, meet me in the lobby and we'll do it right there. I had cameras in my face. I had random people like sitting like, oh my God, because he's working on my body. I'm screaming. I'm like, I'm in pain. So I literally, like, he pulls the tongue up, back, and then flips your body like this and turns your body. And so what happened, as he's pulling my tongue, I feel this like rush of energy come from the base, my base, and it like tornadoes up. It shoots through my heart. It shoots through my head. And I literally felt higher than I've ever been in my life. I could see better than I've ever seen in my life. And I could not stop crying. And I don't cry. Like, I'm not a crier. And especially with people watching me and cameras in my face, no. So I could not, like, help it. I was heaving, like, crying. It was so emotional what came out, because your tongue is connected to your heart chakra, and it connects in a front fascial line to your big toe. So think about like that tension to pull your tongue out and what your body is holding on to. So powerful. You would be surprised how much emotions live in here. And then if you just release and press on some fascia, start moving your body, even stretching, lots of emotion will come up. And it's for you guys to kind of, address it. Don't push it away, because it's always telling you something. So, but you have questions, because we got to get to this question and answer. So, anybody have questions? Okay. I'm gonna give you this mic. Well,
Are you gonna answer them, or am I gonna answer them? She's gonna answer.
Keep like 3 minutes. We have to carry on.
We'll just
let's
answer.
just do one question at a time. Yeah, one at a time.
You're talking about inherited trauma. My wife suffers from ALS. She has the 4th or the 8th type. What's that?